Hollywood, starred as an agent. Hello again, dear adventurers of the multiverse. Thanks for joining us once more on this epic journey. Remember, this story is pure science fiction from our wild imagination. So don't go trying to summon dragons in your backyard. The rights of this amazing novel belong entirely to its original author. We are only the narrators. Do you want more adventures? Show some love to our YouTube channel with a subscription and a like. And if you want exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting for you with open arms. Chapter 276, Black on the outside and white on the inside. Upon its release, Interview with a Vampire became a defining work of gorgeous, aesthetically pleasing horror films, and its critical acclaim has only grown steadily. Renowned American author Luna Guthrie praised Interview with a Vampire for effectively telling a 200-year story in 2 hours, meticulously adapting a controversial, beautifully written, and mature book, with its core focus on character and strength. Meanwhile, Chicago Tribune film critic Gene Siskel praised director Neil Jordan's penchant for underdogs. As seen in The Crying Game, he created a film that could be seen as sympathetic to any oppressed group, and gay people might even claim it as their own. The Houston Post commented, Interview with a Vampire, faithful to the detailed vision of all Anne Rice's novels, is a film about what it's really like to be a vampire. The San Francisco Chronicle commented, this is a deeply satisfying film. However, some critics had mixed reactions to the film. Chris Hicks of the New York Times commented, at its core, the first half of the film, a wild, dark comedy, far outperforms the second half, which lapses into dramatic contemplation, leaving many unanswered questions and bloody stakes. In a luxury vacation home in South Lake Tahoe, Aaron lay in bed with Wang Xiuxin in his arms, talking on the phone with Jack Wills. The finals are the Rockets versus the Knicks. It's just Hakeem Olajuwon versus Patrick Ewing, a showdown between two centers, and Hakeem Olajuwon was the regular season MVP. Yet, back when it was still the NCAA, Hakeem Olajuwon's Houston Cougars lost to Patrick Ewing's Georgetown. Now, it's revenge. We just finished Game 3 in New York, and the Rockets won. But we lost Game 2 in Houston, and the Rockets are currently leading 2-1. Aaron smiled. Don't worry, I have faith in the Rockets. After a few more words, Aaron put down his phone and ended the call. The World Cup was about to start, which happened to be during the NBA Finals. Yet, I'm also optimistic that the Houston Rockets will win the championship. Wang Xiuxin, who was in his arms, kissed Aaron on the cheek and smiled. Aaron rubbed the girl's breasts, then rolled over and pressed on top of her. Well, do you watch the NBA, too? Oh, I used to play basketball in school. My dad's a professional. Aaron smiled, a sudden realization dawning on him as he felt the girl's softness. No wonder you're in such great shape. You inherited those long legs. Anyway, I own the Houston Rockets now. If you want to watch a game, just go to the stadium, okay, Wang Xiuxin said, hugging the man tightly and kissing him. The summer of 1994 was bustling with activity, with the NBA Finals, the World Cup, and more. But in Los Angeles, a murder case captivated the nation. Nicole Brown Simpson, the ex-wife of former black football player O.J. Simpson, and restaurant waiter Ron Goldman were found dead in a luxury residential complex in West Los Angeles. The suspect, O.J. Simpson, was pursued by Los Angeles police in a thrilling chase before a national television audience. By the time Aaron returned to Los Angeles, the O.J. Simpson murder case had already reached a fever pitch. Since his rise to fame, O.J. Simpson had always been a symbol of a white person, appearing black on the outside but white on the inside. He hated his skin and race, unlike other famous black athletes like Michael Jordan and Irvin Johnson. He had no interest in sponsoring activities or investments in underprivileged communities, preferring instead to visit golf clubs owned by wealthy white people. He didn't even have any black friends, his only friends were white. Furthermore, O.J. Simpson was only interested in attractive white women. To shed his blackness, he even paid a fortune to hire a voice correction specialist and practiced repeatedly to eliminate his thick underprivileged accent. However, Aaron's focus remained on his Houston Rockets finals. The Rockets lost games 4 and 5 at Madison Square Garden, bringing the series score to 2-3. Losing these crucial matches was a significant blow to the Rockets' morale, and Game 6 would be played at the Compaq Center in Houston. My best friend's wedding has grossed $78 million in just over a month. Interview with a Vampire has grossed $63 million in North America in just 10 days. Aaron, attending a cocktail party at the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills, stood on the balcony with a glass of wine, gazing at the night sky of Los Angeles. "Aaron, what are you looking at?" Jennifer Connelly suddenly approached Aaron. "Are you thinking about Game 6 between the Houston Rockets and the New York Knicks?" Aaron took a sip of his wine and shook his head. "I'm thinking about Pixar's first animated feature. Pixar's first 3D computer animated film is in full swing," and Aaron was inspired by seeing the Disney poster promoting The Lion King. Jennifer Connelly smiled. "Dawn's current achievements are enough to be proud of." Forrest Gump, which will be released on Independence Day next month, is expected to be another hit movie. What else do you have to worry about? Now, Dawn is soliciting design drafts for a skyscraper in Times Square in Manhattan, New York. Aaron wants to build a new 60-story skyscraper. This is all because of the confidence given by Dawn's good performance. Aaron nodded and smiled slightly. "I'm not worried. Dawn's development momentum is so fierce that no one can stop it." Aaron had just finished speaking when he suddenly received a message on his mobile phone. The Houston Rockets won the 6th game against the New York Knicks 86-84. 2 days later, the Rockets will play the 7th game against the New York Knicks at home to decide the championship. Aaron looked at Jennifer Connelly and said, "The Rockets won Game 6. Let's fly to Houston tomorrow to witness the final championship." The Rockets won. Jennifer Connelly's eyes lit up and she nodded. "We must go. The Rockets will definitely win their first championship trophy. Let's go home," Aaron said, patting the girl on the shoulder. "Okay." Jennifer Connelly immediately took Aaron's arm and the two of them left the hotel together. Chapter 277 Movie Copyright Library. 1994, in Houston, inside the Compaq Center's box, the referee blew the final whistle, and the scoreboard read Rockets 90-84 Knicks. The entire Compaq Center shook. The Rockets had won their first championship, the first in team history, and Hakeem Olajuwon was undeniably named Finals MVP. "Ah, Aaron, we win," Jennifer Connelly screamed, throwing herself into Aaron's arms and kissing him passionately. Aaron responded enthusiastically, hugging the sexy woman. That night, after celebrating with the club, Aaron and Jennifer Connelly returned to their villa in the River Oaks community. In the bathroom, Aaron embraced the voluptuous Jennifer Connelly from behind, kissing her passionately, feeling her 34D breasts. "Next, I'm off to shoot John Singleton's film, School Rush," Jennifer Connelly said, her eyes dazed. "Well, I have to go back to Los Angeles too, for Forrest Gump. Why don't you stay and celebrate for a few more days?" "No, Jack's here. I'll come back when I have time, for the championship parade and all." With that, Aaron pushed Jennifer Connelly against the wall. Meanwhile, Disney's The Lion King officially opened. Including previews, it grossed over $45 million. It received widespread acclaim, boasting rich characters, beautiful visuals, and a compelling storyline, making it a proud member of Disney's family film classics. The Lion King is Disney's 32nd animated feature and its first original story, not based on any previous content. In Burbank, Los Angeles, Aaron sat on the chair of his office, flipping through the newspapers and magazines about The Lion King in his hands. Rolling Stone, The Lion King is a huge entertainment fusion of music, fun and jaw-dropping thrills, and it is not lacking in depth. The relationship between father and son is rendered affectionately and movingly. Premiere, more than 600 craftsmen created a visual miracle. They brought the African landscape into the movie. From the raindrops gently falling on the leaves to the spectacular wildebeest running, it is this animation art that elevates The Lion King to the level of high-end children's works. Entertainment Weekly, The Lion King is not only a wonderful cartoon, but also an emotionally poignant movie that resonates with people. The Washington Post, The Lion King is an impressive and almost intimidating animated film. Among the 32 animated feature films produced by Disney, The Lion King is not only more mature in theme, but also the darkest and most intense one. Then, Aaron called Atheline Beckett to the office to inquire about the production progress of Toy Story. Dubbing has already begun for Toy Story, with actors like Tom Hanks and Tim Allen currently rehearsing their lines. Aaron nodded in agreement. Pixar was finally showing its true colors. That evening, at Club 54 in West Hollywood, Aaron met with John Kruger, chairman of Metro Media Group. Metro Media Group was the shareholder and operator of Orion Pictures, which had previously filed for bankruptcy and brought in new investors, but Orion's performance hadn't improved. John Kruger, already 80 years old and running out of energy, looked at Aaron and said, "Don wants to acquire Orion's copyright library." Aaron nodded. "Yes, Orion is a bit of a hot potato for you." High debt is never a good thing. Don is willing to acquire Orion's film library. You can take the cash and settle with your creditors. Orion started out by acquiring Film Road. Combined with its own copyrights over the years, it has a considerable asset base. It owns the copyrights to the first Terminator, the first Rambo, the RoboCop series, and Dances with Wolves. John Kruger has always hoped to sell Orion while preserving its independence, but unfortunately, no one is willing. Aaron, my health is no longer able to run a film company. Metro Media really needs to spin off Orion Pictures to raise funds. As you know, Orion owns the copyrights to nearly 1,500 films. The price won't be cheap. We won't sell it for less than $220 million, John Kruger said, taking a sip from the glass in front of him. Aaron also picked up the wine glass and took a sip. Mr. Kruger, although I am not very old, I have been in Hollywood for 5 years. I have been able to develop Dawn into its current scale that has surpassed MGM, and it cannot be defeated by the 6 major film studios, and it can launch blockbuster movies every year. Orion's film library, which can be regarded as truly mainstream works, has only about 1,200 works. Dawn is willing to invest $180 million in cash to acquire it. John Kruger frowned. Last year, Turner Broadcasting acquired the assets of New Line Cinema for $500 million. Aaron spread his hands. That includes all the film libraries, scripts, real estate, theaters, etc. of New Line Cinema, Castle Rock Entertainment, Nielsen Entertainment, etc. Besides, can the works in Orion be compared with the current New Line and Castle Rock? Just like the current Dawn, its own copyright library alone has only 40 or 50 works, but the value of these works is much higher than the total assets of Orion. Mr. Kruger, if Metro Media is willing to sell, Sugan can immediately put up $180 million in cash. Aaron had another advantage, ample cash flow. Having just raised $500 million, combined with Sugan's own liquidity, it was a considerable amount. Even if they spent $120 million to acquire the Houston Post and built the new Sugan building in Times Square, it would still be more than enough. John Kruger was torn, but he knew Sugan's current offer was a good one, and it was a cash deal. Cash was incredibly important to John Kruger right now. However, John Kruger hesitated, responding, "I need to discuss this with the other shareholders for a few days." Aaron nodded, but he was determined to acquire Orion's copyright library. With Sugan Home Entertainment and the AMC cable network, Sugan's demand for a film library was substantial. More importantly, Aaron knew the DVD era was imminent, a market 2 or 3 times larger than that of videotapes. The value of film libraries would skyrocket in the DVD era. Chapter 278, the 7th largest film group. Aaron leaned back on the sofa, watching John Kruger stagger away, taking a sip of his drink. Even at 80, he still has to hang out at the club. A moment later, Aaron ran into Lakers owner Jerry Buss in the bathroom hallway, congratulating his Rockets on their championship win. Aaron smiled. The Lakers aren't doing so well right now. James Worthy can't carry the team alone. Jerry Buss felt frustrated. Ever since Magic Johnson retired due to AIDS, the Lakers' performance had been steadily declining, not even making the playoffs last season. James Worthy was the only remaining member of the Showtime era. There's nothing we can do. James Worthy has been getting older these past few years, and he's been struggling. He's already decided to retire this year. Jerry Buss's primary asset was the Los Angeles Lakers, not Aaron Anderson. The Houston Rockets were just a toy for him, and they were even investing over $200 million in a new arena in downtown Houston. Aaron rubbed his chin. I heard Johnson spent $10 million to buy a 4.5% stake in the Lakers. Are the Lakers looking to bring in an investor? Jerry Buss spread his hands. The Buss family will always control the Lakers, so bringing in the right minority shareholder wouldn't be surprising. Magic Johnson was a powerful figurehead for the Lakers, and becoming a minority shareholder and freeing him from his contract was a good deal. In fact, Jerry Buss was also willing to have Aaron Anderson become the Lakers' second largest shareholder. That way, perhaps the Lakers would have a new arena. The Houston Rockets were building a new arena in downtown Houston, and the Rockets had won their first championship this year. The Lakers' current home, the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, hadn't been renovated in years, and Jerry Buss also wanted the Lakers to have a new arena. This year's Los Angeles earthquake also had a significant impact on arenas, just as the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum was damaged. The NFL team, The Los Angeles Raiders were unable to obtain city funding for renovations and are planning to relocate to Oakland, Northern California. Another NFL team, the Los Angeles Rams, also dissatisfied with Angel Stadium in Anaheim, are planning to relocate to St. Louis, Missouri. By the way, Aaron, this year's NBA draft is coming up in Indianapolis, Indiana. Don't you want to go? Jerry Buss asked. Aaron shrugged. The Rockets traded their first-round pick. Besides, the Rockets have general manager Ray Patterson and head coach Rudy Tomjanovich. They'll figure it out. Furthermore, the NBA is currently in the midst of a new round of labor negotiations. Management's demands for a hard salary cap and restrictions on rookie contracts run counter to the Players Association's wishes. Negotiations between the two sides are going very poorly. After leaving the bar, Aaron Anderson went to Catherine Zeta-Jones's villa in the Glen neighborhood of Beverly Hills. My best friend's wedding has been a success in North America and is now opening in Europe. Catherine Zeta-Jones has just returned to Los Angeles from the UK. Graham Bradstreet is very confident in my best friend's wedding and believes it will be a hit in Europe. On the sofa, Catherine Zeta-Jones kissed the man on the cheek, her face brimming with excitement. Graham Bradstreet is the head of Dawn UK Films and also oversees Dawn International's film distribution in Europe. The Mask of Zorro, my best friend's wedding. 2 hits in a row. You're a big star now. Aaron embraced Catherine Zeta-Jones and nuzzled her affectionately. Was it the right decision to come to Hollywood with me? Yes, the stunning Catherine Zeta-Jones smiled, took off her shirt, and sank completely into Aaron's arms. If it weren't for you, I'd probably still be a small TV star now. Perhaps, I would have been noticed by some fat and greasy old white man. Aaron stretched out his hand and touched the girl's fullness to feel it. Has Golden Eye started filming already? Yes, it's being filmed at Pinewood Studios in Buckinghamshire. Elizabeth Hurley has joined and will play a Bond girl, Catherine Zeta-Jones said, blowing a breath in Aaron's ear. However, Hurley has come to the United States to promote the movie Forrest Gump. It can be seen that she has very high expectations for Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump, I also have great expectations. Aaron narrowed his eyes. My best friend's wedding has already exceeded $90 million at the North American box office. An Interview with a Vampire has also exceeded $80 million. Next up, Forrest Gump will be released in early July, and at the end of the month, there's Jim Carrey's fantasy comedy The Mask. This summer, Aaron's Dawn Pictures is sure to have another fruitful year. Well, honey, Hollywood's golden boy won't fail. As long as you're here, Dawn won't disappoint. Now, stop overthinking and enjoy the rest of the day. Immediately, Catherine Zeta-Jones unbuckled the man's belt. After Dawn's $180 million cash offer for Orion Pictures, Metro Media and Dawn negotiated the deal after a week of negotiations. John Kluge sold Orion to Aaron for $185 million. At the Los Angeles premiere of Forrest Gump at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood, director Robert Zemeckis walked the red carpet with stars Tom Hanks, Elizabeth Hurley, and others. Backstage at the theater, Brad Gray and Aaron sat on the sofa together. Should we still use the Orion label? Aaron shook his head. Let's put it on hold for now. Orion hasn't produced any good works in recent years. Let's sort out some of its assets and integrate them first. Also, Dawn Films' international distribution network needs to be improved as soon as possible. Dawn spent over $300 million in cash on the successive acquisitions of Samuel Goldwyn Pictures and Orion's copyright libraries. Now, Dawn's film library already holds the copyrights to over 2,500 films. In terms of scale, Dawn Group is now the 7th largest film group in the world. The trend of groupization is obvious in film, television, news publishing, cinema chains, and cable television networks. Chapter 279 American Main Theme. Life is like a box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get. The premiere of Forrest Gump at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood held up a mirror, reflecting the richness and complexity of life. In the 1960s, in a small town in southern Alabama, a young boy named Forrest Gump, with an IQ of only 75, was labeled mentally retarded from childhood. With his childish monologues, the protagonist, Forrest, recounts his life journey, from elementary school to college, from sports events to the Vietnam War, and finally to his rise to billionaire status. Through Forrest's family, love, and friendships, as well as key events in the United States, the audience witnessed the American society of the time. Director Robert Zemeckis has made Forrest Gump a timeless classic, evoking laughter and tears, and deeply reminding us that everyone has a story to tell. one that deserves to be heard and respected. The premiere of Forrest Gump was a success, as evidenced by the numerous reports about the film the following day. The Los Angeles Times commented, "The film Forrest Gump is humorous and hilarious, yet deeply moving, thought-provoking, and moving, with a strong artistic appeal." The Washington Post commented, "Forrest Gump possesses its own unique dramatic style. First, it employs a staging of time and space, primarily reflected in exaggerated voice and action, direct displays of character psychology, and the use of relatively fixed settings. Second, it employs conflicting plots, primarily as Lieutenant Dan and Jenny struggle with their respective destinies. Third, it employs techniques such as chance encounters and coincidences, focusing on the impact that Forrest Gump's chance encounters with various people have on his life." The Wall Street Journal commented, "The film's kindness and warmth touch the best in the audience's hearts, showcasing beautiful emotions such as honesty, trustworthiness, earnestness, courage, and loyalty, representing the very American spirit." The Hollywood Reporter commented, "The film boasts a tortuous and vivid plot, beautiful and bright visuals, vivid actors, and a profound and inspiring theme. Tom Hanks, who plays the protagonist, portrays Forrest Gump to perfection." Chicago Tribune, "The image of Forrest Gump in the movie subverts the heroic image in the normal world, runs counter to traditional concepts, and is strongly anti-traditional and anti-mainstream. This kind of spiritual outlook is exactly what the United States urgently needs right now. Forrest Gump is the best gift Hollywood has given to the United States this year." In a villa in the Bel Air community, Aaron leaned on the sofa, flipping through the newspaper in his hand. Forrest Gump is indeed a thoroughly American mainstream movie. Tom Hanks turned Forrest Gump from a projection of history into a real, flesh-and-blood person, and Forrest Gump is a child occupying an adult's body, a sage-level fool, and an ordinary person who transcends authenticity, a little man representing the national character. Aaron smiled. "Americans love fairy tales, too, don't they?" He reached out and nudged Elizabeth Hurley's chin. Who could resist this level of cultural awareness? Elizabeth Hurley sank directly into Aaron's arms. "Well, with such high word-of-mouth and rave reviews, the box office is sure to be strong." Aaron caressed the woman in his arms. "It's going on the national release the day after tomorrow. We'll know then." Forrest Gump opened in 1,550 theaters across North America on July 6, grossing $24.5 million in its first 3 days. Forrest Gump truly resonated with current American society, generating immense buzz and excitement upon its release. Dawning immediately stepped up its promotional and marketing efforts, adding nearly 700 theaters. Meanwhile, Disney's The Lion King has already surpassed $120 million at the North American box office. Meanwhile, Dawning's Interview with a Vampire has also surpassed $90 million, and My Best Friend's Wedding has even surpassed $100 million. At Dawn headquarters in Burbank, AMC Cable Network's chairman Jovan Adams arrived in Aaron's office to report on his work. "Are you saying that Viacom's Paramount and Time Warner's Warner Brothers are going to form up United Paramount and WB, Warner Brothers, respectively?" Aaron rapped his hands on the table. Ever since Clinton took office, restrictions on broadcast media have gradually been relaxed, allowing large film companies and television stations to form alliances. Yes, Warner Brothers and Paramount, backed by Time Warner and Viacom respectively, both possess substantial television systems and are looking to form their own terrestrial networks. After ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox, there's going to be UPN and the WB. Aaron tapped the table. Disney seems quite interested in acquiring a terrestrial network. ABC is owned by MetLife, NBC is owned by General Electric, and the smallest, CBS, is currently owned by Los Angeles. ABC and NBC both own several cable networks, much more expensive than CBS. Disney's first target is undoubtedly ABC or NBC. Ever since News Corporation's Fox became the fourth largest terrestrial network after the three major terrestrial networks, the other Hollywood film groups have been eagerly eyeing it. Sony and Panasonic, don't you have any ideas? Aaron glanced at the other party. Jovan Adams smiled. Sony definitely doesn't have one. Not only will Sony have to shoulder the losses incurred by Columbia TriStar, but Sony is still a Japanese company after all. As for Panasonic, the situation is similar. Even if Sidney Sheinberg and Lou Wasserman wanted a TV network, it would be difficult to secure. Sidney Sheinberg and Lou Wasserman were the president and CEO of Panasonic MCA Worldwide, respectively. Aaron narrowed his eyes. Excluding the two Japanese companies in 20th Century Fox, Paramount and Warner Brothers were now planning their own TV networks, leaving only Disney among the big six. With Michael Eisner's vision, he would undoubtedly prioritize the distribution capabilities of TV stations, and acquiring a broadcast network was a must. Television stations, Aaron was tempted, but the price of the three major broadcast networks wasn't cheap. In 1985, General Electric, GE, acquired NBC for $6.2 billion. That same year, C-Metro merged with ABC, and Lois acquired CBS for $3.5 billion. C-Metro ABC was the largest, owning an 80% stake in ESPN, a cable channel on par with CNN and MTV. Aaron, we should consider this too. A network with a wide reach would be very helpful in distributing our content. Chapter 280 Times Mirror. In the United States, the dominant over-the-air network is undoubtedly the Big Three, ABC, NBC, and CBS. Even Fox, fourth, lags far behind the top three. However, in the news sector, CNN's ratings have long surpassed those of the Big Three. Then there are basic cable and premium cable networks. While subscription-based, premium cable networks like AMC, USA, and Sci-Fi do feature a moderate amount of advertising, premium networks like HBO, Showtime, and Bravo are completely ad-free. That evening, Aaron attended a cocktail party at the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills and met Otis Chandler, chairman of the Times Mirror Group. As the owner of the Los Angeles Times, Otis Chandler was undoubtedly a newspaper magnate. Aaron, I can't believe you're interested in newspapers. Young people these days don't really care for them. Don had aggressively acquired the Houston Post, a top 20 newspaper in the United States, and had also invested in the Los Angeles Daily News, instantly transforming Aaron Anderson into a newspaper tycoon. Aaron lifted a glass of wine from the waiter's tray beside him. Where there's profit, there's always a crowd. Newspapers are making a lot of money these days. Beyond the financial benefits, the political stakes involved in newspapers couldn't be ignored. The Chandler family, which owned the Los Angeles Times, held a West Coast influence comparable to the Graham family, which owned the Washington Post. Movies, television, newspapers. Otis Chandler glanced at Aaron, deeply impressed. In just a few years, the young man had become a prominent figure in America, his wealth skyrocketing. Then, Otis Chandler smiled. Hearst has been coveting the Houston Post for a long time. I didn't expect you to show up so quickly. It's not easy to compete with a Houston Chronicle. Aaron shrugged and took a sip of his wine. Does the Dawn Group still worry about competing with the Hearst Group now? Hearst has been seeking transformation in recent years, selling many newspapers and entering other industries such as film and television. But for Dawn, except for publishing, it completely crushes Hearst in other areas. Otis Chandler thought for a moment. Yes, Dawn has been able to call the shots in Hollywood in recent years, even fearing the Big Six studios. There's no other way. The films produced by Dawn are so profitable. From box office, videotapes, laserdiscs, television broadcasts, and consumer product licensing, Dawn's annual sales now exceed $4 billion. It's second only to the Big Six Hollywood studios and far ahead of other entertainment companies. Dawn was one of the Los Angeles Times' most important clients, and Otis Chandler had always maintained a close friendship with Aaron Anderson. Furthermore, the San Francisco Chronicle, owned by Hearst, was the Times' biggest West Coast competitor. Aaron shook his head. Hollywood doesn't belong to Dawn yet. Aaron had always been upset about not being able to join the MPAA. By the way, I heard Dawn is planning to launch a fashion magazine, Otis Chandler suddenly asked. Aaron nodded. Yes, they're collaborating with the lingerie brand Victoria's Secret. It's a fashionable women's magazine, called Victoria's Secret. Oh, then, would Dawn Publishing be interested in partnering with us to create a lifestyle entertainment magazine? Otis Chandler wanted an entertainment magazine that could compete with Vanity Fair and Entertainment Weekly. Vanity Fair was owned by Condé Nast, while Entertainment Weekly was owned by Time. Aaron's eyes lit up. Oh, entertainment magazines, this was definitely of interest. Shu Guang had already had this idea, but his current focus was on film and television. After all, Aaron had a clear vision of the future of newspapers and magazines. The development of the internet doomed print publishing, and Aaron didn't value the profits from this sector, primarily for political reasons. Otherwise, Aaron wouldn't have split off the print business and developed an online edition immediately after acquiring the Houston Post Group. The Los Angeles Times was interested in a partnership, which Aaron certainly welcomed. He would hand the matter over to Karen McKee of the Houston Post. Then, Aaron received another bombshell from Otis Chandler. Disney chairman Michael Eisner was seriously ill and hospitalized. Michael Eisner is in the hospital. He already has heart problems, Aaron said, stroking his chin. Otis Chandler smiled. It should be more serious this time. I heard that he secretly met with Barry Diller and Michael Ovitz. If something happens to him, it is very likely that one of these two will take over from him and run Disney. Aaron didn't show any expression. He remembered that Michael Eisner had been in charge of Disney until 2005. Besides, Jeffrey Katzenberg hasn't left Disney yet and is co-founding DreamWorks with Steven Spielberg and David Geffen. Michael Eisner has a long life ahead of him. I am actually interested in the new president of Disney now. Although Michael Eisner is the interim president, it is difficult for him to be distracted. There must be someone who can assist him like Frank Wells, and he has a deep conflict with Jeffrey Katzenberg. Who should Disney find to replace him? Although Aaron knew that Michael Ovitz from CAA would be the replacement, he couldn't say it out loud. Otis Chandler spread his hands. His good friend Michael Ovitz, CAA may be doing well, but how can it compare to the president of a major entertainment group? Besides, if Michael Ovitz joins Disney, it will reassure Wall Street. Michael Eisner is worried about Jeffrey Katzenberg because he's too capable. As for Michael Ovitz, he's just an agent after all. How can he understand the internal operations of Hollywood film groups compared to these tycoons who have been immersed in it for many years? If Michael Ovitz joins Disney, he will definitely not be a threat to Michael Eisner. At least he will need years of training before he can become the successor. Sigh, Aaron sighed. It's just a pity for Jeffrey Katzenberg. He's very capable, that's right, he's too greedy and lacks long-term vision. His production capabilities are indeed good, but for a media group right now, the profits of the film itself are not enough to support it. What's important is the upstream and downstream industry chain of the film industry. Michael Eisner's Disneyland Resort and Consumer Product Market are the foundation of Disney. Chapter 281 National Comedy. In Burbank, at the Dawn headquarters building, Aaron stood by the window of his top-floor office, admiring the scenery below. Over at Disney, the news of Michael Eisner's hospitalization is spreading like wildfire. If nothing unexpected happens, it must be Jeffrey Katzenberg's work. After the news of Michael Eisner's hospitalization was revealed, Disney's stock price fluctuated. Tom Rothman on the side nodded. According to the information in the newspaper, it seems that it was Eisner's wife who notified close friends such as Michael and his wife, Roy and his wife, and Sid and his wife after he was hospitalized, but they only missed Jeffrey Katzenberg, someone they have known for many years. Aaron smiled. It seems that Jeffrey Katzenberg's days at Disney have entered the countdown. Tom Rothman thought for a while. Aaron, do you want to invite Jeffrey Katzenberg to take charge of Pixar? He looks down on Pixar. With his experience at Disney, Jeffrey Katzenberg will no longer want to be inferior to others. Aaron shook his head. After all, Pixar is just a new company and has not released a single animated feature film. It is a fantasy to want to invite a Hollywood bigwig like Jeffrey Katzenberg to join. In the afternoon, Dawn Steele came to Aaron with a script sent by Polly Graham. The other party wanted to collaborate on a feature film. Dead Man Walking is based on the true story of Sister Helen Prejean. It tells the story of how Sister Helen Prejean, at the request of death row inmate Matthew Ponchett, began a correspondence with him. During the final 168 hours of his life, she helped him break through his defenses, sincerely repent, and peacefully approach his death. Aaron glanced at the proposal. Director Tim Robbins, it seems Polly Graham really has high hopes for him. A few years ago, Tim Robbins' directorial debut, Bob Roberts, was funded by Polly Graham Films. The story is great. Sue Guan could partner with Polly Graham for North American distribution. Aaron was definitely supportive of the script. As for Weiger Mercy Films, Polly Graham's frequent North American independent distributor, didn't choose them this time. Aaron didn't bother to worry. Dawn Steele nodded. Then I'll notify Polly Graham Films as soon as possible. Aaron then received an invitation to the Sun Valley Summit in Idaho from Herbert Allen Jr. of Allen & Company, a boutique investment bank. The Sun Valley Summit, also known as the Super Summer Camp, was initiated by Herbert Allen and features forums and exchanges with prominent figures from the media and investment worlds. The Sun Valley Summit has been held for over a decade, and its biggest headliner is Warren Buffett, the god of stocks, a close friend and longtime collaborator of Herbert Allen's. Both are members of the boards of Coca-Cola and Metropolitan ABC. Aaron glanced at the invitation, unimpressed. However, he thought it was worth a visit. At least a number of bankers and media moguls would be in attendance. Given the growth momentum of the Suzuki Group, Aaron knew he would be flocking to the event. That evening, in the parking lot of Suzuki Studios, near the set of Friends, Jennifer Aniston entered a Lexus LS 400. Jennifer Aniston said, hugging Aaron and kissing him passionately. Aaron embraced the voluptuous Jennifer Aniston and caressed her. "How is it going? It's all laughter and joy on the set of Friends, right?" "Yeah, it's a sitcom, so the atmosphere is pretty good." Jennifer Aniston's naturally optimistic nature was indeed a perfect fit for a comedy like Friends. "Let's go get a drink," Aaron said, patting Jennifer Aniston on the back. Aaron hadn't seen Jennifer Aniston much since the Northridge earthquake in Los Angeles. Not long after, the two drove to a bar on Franklin Boulevard in Hollywood. "That night was really thrilling," Aaron said, sitting on the sofa with Jennifer Aniston in his arms, still feeling a lingering fear as he recalled the early morning hours of the earthquake. Jennifer Aniston smiled and kissed Aaron on the cheek. "Yeah, luckily it was early in the morning and the earthquake was in the Northridge area. Otherwise, if the reporters had filmed us in that situation, you would definitely be featured in the newspapers." Aaron nodded, and then kissed the girl, reaching out to caress her thigh. Jennifer Aniston isn't yet the sexy American sweetheart. After all, Friends Season 1 won't air until September. Perhaps, after Friends Season 2 airs next year, the ratings will soar, and by then, Jennifer Aniston, as the beauty, will be famous all over the United States. After the kiss, Jennifer Aniston leaned in Aaron's arms with a charming look. "The several movies released by Dawn now are really great. The reputation of Forrest Gump spread very quickly. Interview with the Vampire has also captured a large number of female fans, and My Best Friend's Wedding has now grossed $150 million worldwide." Aaron blew a breath in Jennifer Aniston's ear and stroked the girl's softness. "Well, when there is a suitable script for this kind of romantic comedy, I will let you know. You are suitable for this kind of work. Don't forget, I made my fortune with romantic comedies." "I know." Jennifer Aniston raised her head and rubbed Aaron's face. Dawn's early classic romantic films Ghost and Sleepless in Seattle are both rare good films. The British romantic comedy Four Weddings and a Funeral, released last year, broke the box office record for British films. If you can play in Aaron Anderson's works, that will be a shortcut to Hollywood. For any newcomer entering Hollywood, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. "I get the feeling you take Friends very seriously. Are you confident about this sitcom?" Aaron smiled. "Of course I am. It's more than just confidence. Friends is America's national comedy, a global phenomenon. Dawn TV, producing this show, is undoubtedly going to generate significant revenue in the future. Otherwise, Aaron wouldn't have been so consistently monitoring the sitcom's production progress. Even Dawn TV's first series, ER, isn't as important to him as Friends." Chapter 282 Sun Valley Summit. Despite a media blackout by his close friend Michael Ovitz, rumors of Michael Eisner's hospitalization spread throughout Hollywood, with several tabloids even claiming he had passed away. As the situation intensified, Disney could no longer ignore it. Michael Eisner needed to prove he was still alive. So, Michael Eisner and Disney executives came up with a list of key opinion leaders, and Michael Eisner personally called each of them to confirm his health. Afterward, Michael Eisner announced his health status and allowed visitors to arrive. The first person to greet him was Jeffrey Katzenberg. However, Michael Eisner and the ward flew into a rage after reading several articles in the New York Times and the Los Angeles Times. The articles said that Hollywood had seen the tense situation inside Disney, and that Michael Eisner had sneaked into the hospital without any close friends around him, while Jeffrey Katzenberg had many acquaintances inside Disney. Meanwhile, at the Sun Valley Private Airport in Idaho, Aaron got off his Gulfstream IV private business jet with Christiana Yeri. Various large and small aircraft were parked at the airport, and Aaron came to the annual Sun Valley Summit in July. "Aaron, welcome." Herbert Allen Jr. smiled and shook hands with Aaron. "You are the youngest group chairman here." "Thank you." Soon, Aaron and Christiana Yeri beside him checked into a nearby luxury vacation home. There were many bigwigs attending the summit this year, including Berkshire Hathaway Chairman Warren Buffett and Vice Chairman Charlie Munger, General Electric Chairman Jack Welch, The Washington Post Chairman Katharine Graham, CBS Group Chairman Lawrence Allen Tisch, Boston Fidelity Investments Chairman Edward Johnson III, Franklin Templeton Fund Chairman Charles Johnson, and many more. At a cocktail party in the evening, Charles Johnson, an old friend of Aaron, clinked glasses with Aaron with a smile on his face. Everyone is very interested in your Dawn Group. Dawn Group, don't you have any plans to go public yet? Aaron glanced at Lawrence Allen Tish not far away and took a sip of wine. Dawn, we are not short of money at the moment. As for going public, there is no rush. Loss Corporation, managed by brothers Lawrence Allen Tish and Preston Robert Tish, is the controlling shareholder and manager of CBS, one of the 3 major wireless broadcasting networks in the United States. Now Hollywood is seeking mergers and developments with TV stations, and Dawn must not fall behind. After all, the distribution capabilities of TV stations are very important to Hollywood. Charles Johnson shrugged. One more thing I have to tell you, Victoria's Secret sales have increased quite a bit. The Victoria's Secret show was a huge success, and that's a huge credit. While Aaron was attending the summit in Sun Valley, Hollywood was in turmoil. Michael Eisner, after recuperating, was successfully discharged from the hospital. Michael Eisner blamed Jeffrey Katzenberg for the previous newspaper reports about him and Disney, believing his actions to be foolish. After his discharge, Michael Eisner quickly assigned Jeffrey Katzenberg's responsibilities to other members of the company. Joe Roth managed the film studio, Rich Frank was responsible for television, home video, and Disney Cable, and Roy Disney became the head of Disney Animation. The 3 of them reported directly to Michael Eisner, not Jeffrey Katzenberg. Burbank, Disney headquarters. Michael Eisner's office. Jeffrey Katzenberg looked at his longtime friend with an expression of disbelief. Can you tell me why, Michael? Michael Eisner frowned and began to complain. Don't you know how much trouble those newspaper reports the other day caused me, and how many hidden dangers they've created for Disney? Michael Eisner was furious. The reports were so obviously skewering each other, and even threatened to resign if Jeffrey Katzenberg wasn't allowed to become Disney's president. These reports had undoubtedly been authorized by Jeffrey Katzenberg, specifically to secure the Disney presidency. Jeffrey Katzenberg was stunned for a moment, then, with a wave of excitement, he shouted, Michael, I've never told you how much you mean to me, and I've never told Frank Wells how much I love working with him, huh? Jeffrey Katzenberg's tone startled Michael Eisner. Forget it, I think it's time for me to leave Disney, Jeffrey Katzenberg finally said, somewhat wearily. Was the event Michael Eisner had been waiting for about to happen? But Michael Eisner lowered his tone and began to persuade Jeffrey Katzenberg to stay. I think you should change your mind and stay. I'll help you convince the other directors to join the board. Perhaps we can now discuss your ideas for restructuring Disney. Restructuring Disney. Jeffrey Katzenberg was puzzled by Michael Eisner's attitude. After all, the president was responsible for restructuring Disney, and now he was being asked to discuss it? Jeffrey Katzenberg was visibly surprised by Michael Eisner's change of heart. Aaron couldn't believe it. Was it because he offered to resign that Michael Eisner changed his mind and came to discuss it? If restructuring was going to happen, then was Frank Wells's position still a possibility for him? Jeffrey Katzenberg quickly began preparing for the company's restructuring. After seeing him leave, Michael Eisner called Peter Schneider in the animation department and asked him to monitor Jeffrey Katzenberg and see if he had resolved the issues surrounding Disney's next animated feature, Pocahontas. As for what Michael Eisner said to Jeffrey Katzenberg, saying that he wanted him to stay, it was just talk. Also, those words asking Jeffrey Katzenberg to reorganize Disney were completely lies. Michael Eisner has not yet persuaded Michael Ovitz to join Disney, so it would be bad if Jeffrey Katzenberg resigned now. Chapter 283 Warner is torn apart. In Sun Valley, Aaron played golf with Berkshire Hathaway's Charlie Munger. Charlie Munger often spent time in Los Angeles and knew Su Guang quite well. Is Su Guang also planning to enter the television industry? Aaron nodded. Hollywood's internationalization trend is becoming increasingly evident. A globalized television strategy will bring huge benefits. Hollywood is the most important content provider in the global entertainment industry, and Su Guang is one of the best in Hollywood. Now is the best time. Aaron Anderson's tone was full of undisguised confidence, which made Charlie Munger, standing beside him, deeply feel the young man's sharp edge. Aaron then glanced at the other person again, a smile breaking across his face. Berkshire Hathaway's current share price is $16,500, right? Cheyenne Hay Fund recently bought 10,000 shares. Berkshire Hathaway, with a total share capital of only around 1.4 million shares, has always held the highest share price in the world. Warren Buffett has always believed in long-term investing, and his company's stock investors are naturally those who hold it for the long term. After all, Berkshire Hathaway shares are only worth $10,000 to $20,000 per share, so the liquidity won't be high. Charlie Munger smiled. Berkshire Hathaway's key investment target, Coca-Cola, surpassed Walmart last year to become the consumer goods company with the highest market capitalization, ranking fourth in the United States with a market capitalization of $66 billion. The development of Coca-Cola has greatly promoted Berkshire Hathaway, Aaron nodded. Coca-Cola has always been a key investment asset for Buffett. Warren Buffett and Herbert Allen are both shareholders and board members of Coca-Cola. It's not hard to understand why Warren Buffett is always photographed drinking Coca-Cola. Among current American companies, General Electric became the company with the highest market capitalization in the United States last year, surpassing ExxonMobil, which had dominated the list for many years. Its current market capitalization has reached $87 billion. This year, AT&T also surpassed ExxonMobil to become the second largest company in the United States, with a market capitalization of $78 billion. ExxonMobil is now ranked third with a market capitalization of $75 billion. That evening, Aaron and Christiana Yeri went to the resort bar to hang out. Tomorrow, let's go back to Los Angeles, Christiana Yeri nodded. Have you finished all your business? No big deal, Aaron shook his head. He'd already spent over $100 million on Berkshire Hathaway stock, so that was enough. Okay, I'm going to the bathroom, Aaron said, kissing Christiana Yeri on the cheek before getting up and leaving. Good evening, Aaron. On the way, Aaron Anderson ran into Time Warner chairman Gerard Levin. Good evening, Mr. Levin. Aaron shook his hand. Gerard Levin smiled and patted Aaron on the shoulder. The development of Dawn is really amazing. It seems that Hollywood will change in a few years. If there's a chance, maybe we can sit down and talk about cooperation. Aaron nodded. Time Warner is currently the largest entertainment group, and Dawn is definitely willing to cooperate. I heard that Time Warner is going to sell shares of TBS Group, right? Gerard Levin looked at Aaron. Oh, Dawn is interested in TBS shares. Time Warner owns 21.9% of TBS Broadcasting Group, which is more than one-fifth. Because Time Warner's debt scale is too large now, Gerard Levin does have the idea of selling TBS shares. Who wouldn't have an idea about TBS Group, which owns CNN? However, the current price of TBS is not cheap. CNN alone is attractive enough. Gerard Levin smiled. With your company's current valuation, I wouldn't be surprised if you could acquire all of TBS. What's more, it's just my 21.9% stake. Aaron shook his head. Taking over TBS isn't that easy. First, there's Ted Turner, and then there's the second largest shareholder, TCI Group, which also owns some of the television systems led by John Malone. TCI Group, in particular, owns nearly 25% of TBS, and John Malone holds considerable influence over the company. After the merger between TCI and Bell Atlantic was halted, John Malone joined forces with some TCI shareholders to form Liberty Media. Gerard Levin casually suggested, perhaps you could chip away at it slowly. Time Warner's situation is dire, and Gerard Levin desperately needs cash. Few Hollywood companies can come up with a large sum of cash all at once and are interested in TBS shares. It's a well-known fact that Downing has a large cash flow, as anyone can tell by the box office performance of its films. Aaron licked his lips. Gerald Levine's suggestion was truly appealing. After all, it wasn't just Time Warner struggling right now. TBS had also incurred considerable debt from its previous acquisition. After Gerald Levine left, Aaron watched him depart and shook his head slightly. Time Warner's current debt had reached $15 billion, even more than Viacom, which had just acquired Paramount. Furthermore, Gerald Levine had manipulated N.J. Nicholas into leaving last year, and then, after Steve Ross's death, seized power and purged those within the company who didn't belong to him. Gerald Levine had completely brought the political strife into the company, causing Time Warner's department heads to spend their time engaged in various power struggles. The divisions were engaged in open and covert infighting, leaving Time Warner in a state of disarray. TBS, Aaron was truly captivated by the cable network founded by Ted Turner. It owned not only CNN, TBS, and TNT, but also the MGM Film Library, Castle Rock, and New Line. TCI and Time Warner alone held a significant portion of TBS's shares, and founder Ted Turner was a man of character. Arguably Aaron's greatest reward from coming to Sun Valley was learning Time Warner's stance on TBS's shares. After all, a 21.9% stake was enough to influence Ted Turner's decisions at TBS, and Xu Guang's need for a television station was urgent. If Aaron truly wanted to take on TBS, the first person he had to deal with was Ted Turner. Whether the two could form a coalition, or who would be the leader and who would be the follower, was a crucial question. Ted Turner was known for his unscrupulous style, and Aaron disliked things beyond his control. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284, Pacers. July arrived, and the World Cup concluded with Brazil's victory. The much-publicized O.J. Simpson murder trial also concluded with hearings, drawing widespread attention. The release of The Lion King and Forrest Gump continued to rake in box office revenue, with the former surpassing $200 million in North America, and the latter surpassing $100 million. At Tron headquarters in Burbank, Los Angeles, Aaron sat in his office. Phantom Productions wants to adapt Jane Austen's novel Sense and Sensibility. Phantom is the independent production company founded by renowned director Sidney Pollack. Esther Beckett nodded. The director they chose is Chinese director Ang Lee, with Oscar-winning actress Emma Thompson and actor Hugh Grant. Ang Lee has made a name for himself in the independent film industry over the past 2 years with works like The Wedding Banquet and Eat Drink Man Woman. It's a good investment. Jane Austen's novels are always exciting, and director Ang Lee's delicate approach is in line with the emotional expression of this type of work. As for director Sidney Pollack, it seems he's planning to remake Paramount's old film Sabrina. How many theaters are scheduled to open Rumble in the Bronx next month? Over 1,500. Well, there's a certain market for Chinese-language kung fu films in North America, especially in the videotape market. There should be enough profit, Aaron said, leaning back in his chair. The Orion and Samuel Goldwyn film libraries can also provide us with cash flow now. The importance of the home entertainment market will become even more apparent in the future. The current home market is mainly based on videotapes and laserdiscs, but China has already launched VCD players and VCD discs. Next, Hollywood and international electronics manufacturers will undoubtedly delve into this field. Aaron's early investment in DVDs will benefit him. Subsequently, Don's second comedy, The Mask, starring Jim Carrey, opened in 2,360 theaters across North America. Carrey's fame had recently soared following the success of Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. The Mask grossed $23 million over its first 3 days, a definite success for a film with a budget of just $23 million. As a masterful comedy, Carrey's performance in The Mask once again captivated millions of viewers. His exaggerated movements, ever-changing facial expressions, and exquisite body movements kept audiences laughing throughout the film. Carrey's salary for Ace Ventura, Pet Detective was $350,000. Before the filming of The Mask, his salary was only $450,000, as Ace Ventura, Pet Detective hadn't yet been released. However, after the success of Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Carrey's salary for Ace Ventura, Pet Detective 2 has skyrocketed to $7 million. Besides Jim Carrey's continued impressive performance, Cameron Diaz's performance as the sultry actress in the film is truly eye-catching. With her blonde hair, blue eyes, and alluring figure, she's incredibly charming and captivating in the film, making it impossible to stop watching. At night, at the Chamberlain Hotel in West Hollywood, Aaron and Cameron Diaz clinked their champagne glasses. So, how is it going now that The Mask is out? Does it feel different? Cameron Diaz was originally a sexy model, but The Mask was her debut film, and it was a huge hit. Yet, Cameron Diaz's face was filled with excitement. She looked at Aaron and licked her lips. I have to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be in The Mask. Otherwise, with so many newcomers in Hollywood every day, when would it be my turn? Aaron smiled. It's mainly because you have great qualities. You're beautiful, and your figure is incredibly sexy. Your performance in The Mask was absolutely perfect for the role. As for acting, someone like Cameron Diaz was meant to be a vase, showcasing the allure of a sexy, blonde American woman is her job. Well, wait, let's go to the bar for a drink, Cameron Diaz suggested. Aaron put his arm around the girl's waist. I'll see you later. He then embraced the girl and shared a long, passionate kiss. Later, Aaron ran into action superstar Arnold Schwarzenegger in the hotel ballroom. He was starring in James Cameron's blockbuster, True Lies, which opened mid-month. It opened with $25.8 million and has grossed $61 million in North America in just 10 days. For an action film, True Lies is quite impressive. Arnold, you and James have incorporated a lot of comedy into True Lies. This new approach is truly a good one. Last year, James Cameron and special effects master Stan Winston founded the effects company Digital Domain. True Lies is Digital Domain's first major special effects film. Besides its many visually stunning special effects sequences, True Lies is also filled with subtle banter and amusing sideshows, resulting in a good deal of comedy throughout the film's plot. Arnold Schwarzenegger smiled. I've starred in many comedies before. This time, we're working on True Lies, and since it's a subversion of the traditional spy image, we've deliberately incorporated comedic elements. Ultimately, though, True Lies embodies American individual heroism, which values personal charisma and ability. With a production budget of $115 million, True Lies' most notable feature is its breathtaking special effects spectacle. By the way, I heard you and director James Cameron are planning to develop Terminator 3. Yes, we've discussed it, and James does want to help Carlock with Terminator 3, but Carlock has his own project coming up, and James is also working on a new film for 20th Century Fox. Aaron nodded. True Lies had just been released, and James Cameron was already working on a new film for 20th Century Fox? Could it be the world-famous Titanic? James Cameron's new film? That's definitely exciting. For Aaron, a director like James Cameron, known for his pursuit of extreme special effects, always managed to surprise. If it is really Titanic, Don can definitely cooperate with 20th Century Fox at that time. Chapter 285 Kings Don't Meet Kings. Aaron remembered clearly that James Cameron encountered numerous challenges while filming Titanic, with a budget going significantly over budget. This caused considerable headaches for the production company, 20th Century Fox, who only managed to complete the film with funding from Paramount, ultimately becoming a monument in world cinema history. By then, Shugwang could easily replace Paramount and partner with 20th Century Fox. Hey, Sylvester Stallone is here too. Just as Aaron finished chatting with Arnold Schwarzenegger and was about to go find Cameron Diaz, he noticed Stallone had also arrived at the reception. As Hollywood action stars on par with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the two had always been competing against each other in various areas, a situation where the king never met the king. However, Stallone's work in recent years has been relatively lacking in quality and reputation. Aside from last year's Cliffhanger, he hasn't had any successful films. This year, Stallone will be releasing The Expert, a film with Sharon Stone. However, Sylvester Stallone certainly has no shortage of scripts. This year, he's already filmed the sci-fi action film Dead Dread, and has another one coming up, The Last Assassin. Both Dead Dread and The Last Assassin are set to be released next year. At night, in the bedroom of Aaron's Bel Air villa, the voluptuous Cameron Diaz lay on top of Aaron. A few days ago, the Houston Rockets held a grand championship parade. Nearly 1 million people attended. It was quite a spectacle. Oh, Aaron smiled, caressing the woman's smooth, white skin. Are you following the NBA, too? Yes, I am. Cameron Diaz smiled, and then kissed Aaron on the cheek. New York, Manhattan, Olympic Tower. The new round of NBA labor negotiations took place at NBA headquarters, with the owners' union and the players' union engaged in a fierce clash over contract restrictions for rookie players and the club salary cap. Meanwhile, the MLB Baseball League's new round of labor negotiations, which had begun earlier, failed, forcing the season to be suspended midway through. The MLB lockout also made the NBA realize the severity of the situation. If the two sides couldn't compromise or reach an agreement, the next NBA season would either be reduced or face a lockout. I don't think the players' union will agree to a hard salary cap, Aaron said, leaning back on a couch in Los Angeles while talking on the phone with Jack Wells in New York. It seemed that a hard salary cap was only a policy in the NFL, the NBA, MLB, and NHL all had soft caps. As for rookie contracts, let's see what restrictions there are. Some of the current NBA regulations were definitely not going to be complete in the future, and Aaron found it difficult to change them. Right now, the owners' union and the players' union will likely reach a temporary agreement to avoid affecting next season's games, to avoid a lockout next season, Both management and labor will likely make some concessions. Listening to Jack Wells's words on the phone, Aaron curled his lips. The Rockets finally won a championship. Don't let anything go wrong next season. Aaron then inquired about the progress of the Dawn Center construction in Houston before ending the call with Jack Wells. Meanwhile, with Warner Brothers and Paramount establishing the WB Network and Up Network, respectively, Disney was the first to become anxious. Michael Eisner first proposed the idea of acquiring a national terrestrial broadcast network at a Disney board meeting. CBS-ABC was too expensive, and CBS was too diversified. Finally, Disney set its sights on General Electric's NBC network. At the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills, Interview with the Vampire hit $100 million at the North American box office, and Dawn hosted a celebration for the crew. Director Neil Jordan and leading actors Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Monica Bellucci, and others were in attendance. Filmmaker David Geffen clinked glasses with Aaron, smiling. Interview with the Vampire has already grossed $70 million overseas. I'm sure it'll easily surpass $100 million, Aaron nodded. With Tom Cruise in the fold, it shouldn't be a problem. Besides, Brad Pitt's influence is also growing rapidly. You have good taste, David Geffen said, glancing at Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, who were sitting nearby. Tom Cruise was currently filming Dawn's Con Air, while Brad Pitt was filming Dawn 7, David Geffen sighed. The film industry is really prosperous nowadays. Aaron smiled, glanced at David Geffen and asked, a few days ago, I saw the news in the newspaper about your meeting with Steven Spielberg and Jeffrey Katzenberg. Now, the possibility of Jeffrey Katzenberg leaving Disney is very high. With his ability, he will definitely have no shortage of new homes, but I guess he must want to set up his own film company, and he and Spielberg are good friends. If the two of them are together, it will definitely be a strong combination. David Geffen smiled but said nothing. The renewal of Jeffrey Katzenberg's contract with Disney was stopped, and the countdown to leaving Disney began. The other party did want to set up a film company with Steven Spielberg, and he was also a good friend of Jeffrey Katzenberg, and he had a lot of money and was ready to participate. However, the focus now is still on Spielberg, who owns his own production company, Amblin, and maintains a good cooperative relationship with Universal and Warner Brothers. If he establishes a film company, Spielberg will be mainly responsible for film production, and Jeffrey Katzenberg will definitely be in charge of operations. Aaron, the 6 major Hollywood studios are starting to develop independent films, and foreign investment is pouring into Hollywood. Your Dawn is already established, and it's not far behind the 6. What you lack is foundation and industrial chain. Your acquisition of AMC Cable, the copyright library of Orion and Samuel Goldwyn, and your entry into the newspaper publishing industry are all aimed at strengthening Dawn, David Geffen said, taking a sip of his wine. Then, if you, Jeffrey Katzenberg, Spielberg and I join forces, we can completely recreate a large entertainment group, break through the blockade of the 6 major studios, and thus change the landscape of Hollywood. Aaron was stunned for a moment, then looked at David Geffen in disbelief. You idiot, you're actually setting your sights on me? Are all Jews so fond of getting something for nothing? Chapter 286 BBC Cooperation. Aaron, of course, scoffed at David Geffen's idea. His own Dawn group was thriving, why would he want to play along? Just look at the ending of DreamWorks in his previous life. They were the center of attention, but it only enriched them, while DreamWorks itself was in tatters. Tom, congratulations. Your performance in Interview with the Vampire was truly stunning. Even the original author, Anne Rice, changed her mind and raved about you. Aaron clinked his glass of champagne with Tom Cruise. Thank you. Tom Cruise flashed his signature charming smile. Aaron nodded, then had another drink with Neil Jordan, Brad Pitt, and the others. He noticed Gwyneth Paltrow next to Brad Pitt. It was clear they had a close relationship. So, wasn't it nice to be in 7? Aaron smiled and clinked his glass with Gwyneth Paltrow. After all, they had had a deep conversation before. Yet, it feels okay, Gwyneth Paltrow said. Perhaps her biggest achievement was starting a relationship with Brad Pitt. With a hit of Interview with the Vampire, Brad Pitt's popularity skyrocketed. What woman wouldn't love a handsome, sexy man? By the way, have you been in touch with Winona lately? Gwyneth Paltrow suddenly asked. Aaron shook his head. I've been a bit busy lately, so I haven't seen Winona Ryder much, Gwyneth Paltrow smiled. That's a shame, you always make me reminisce. Aaron glanced at Brad Pitt in the distance, then approached Gwyneth Paltrow. I do reminisce about those 2 times you dominated me, really? Would you like to try again sometime? Gwyneth Paltrow sincerely wanted to continue that relationship with Erin. Erin smiled without saying anything, then gave her a meaningful look. After Erin Anderson walked away, Gwyneth Paltrow watched him from behind, a sigh welling in her heart. On the hotel balcony, Erin embraced the voluptuous Monica Bellucci. How is that movie you're filming? Is it finished? Yeah, it's coming out in the second half of this year, Monica Bellucci said, knowing he was referring to the Crusader film, The Black Hole. Monica Bellucci had appeared in the Philadelphia Story and Interview with a Vampire back-to-back years in the past 2 years, introducing Hollywood to this voluptuous Italian seductress. The Black Hole was also a chance for Monica Bellucci. Erin kissed the woman on the mouth. Your movie, Garage, will also be out on Halloween. Compared to Garage, Erin certainly trusted his own judgment more. Garage showcased Monica Bellucci's sensuality to the fullest. Monica Bellucci put her arm around the man's neck and smiled. I have to thank you for everything. Otherwise, I'd be stuck in Italy, and wouldn't even have the chance to be a Hollywood actress. With that, she embraced the man and began to kiss him, their lips and tongues intertwined. Feeling the woman's fullness, Erin responded enthusiastically for a moment, okay, honey, let's go home early. Yeah, sure. A moment later, ICM Nancy Josephson found Erin. Erin Anderson also hugged the other party warmly. Oh, Nancy, long time no see. Nancy Josephson shrugged with a smile. Erin, you are a big shot in Hollywood now, and I am just a small agent. Erin shook his head. Now, the only Hollywood agencies that can compete with CAA are your ICM and another WMA. Nancy Josephson looked at the other party. Shu Guang invested in Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility. I want to ask, is Shu Guang also interested in Jane Austen's other novels? Erin nodded. Yes, the famous Jane Austen. Her novels have a very wide fan base. Why, is there a new project? Nancy Josephson said directly, Pride and Prejudice. The British BBC plans to readapt this novel and shoot it into a TV series, and is looking for American TV stations to cooperate. I know Shu Guang has just cooperated with Polygram to develop Sense and Sensibility. Perhaps your AMC TV station will be interested. Erin touched his chin and smiled. Pride and Prejudice is my favorite chapter of Jane Austen's novel. Although there are already multiple versions of movies and TV shows, classics will always last. I sent the script directly. I am very interested in cooperating with the BBC. The BBC is currently strengthening its internationalization, especially its business in the United States, just like the program Animal Planet in cooperation with the Discovery Channel. By the way, Nancy, AMC is actually interested in deeper cooperation with the BBC, such as producing documentaries, comedies, and dramas together. AMC cable TV network has added variety shows and talk shows. In addition to movies and TV, AMC's other businesses will also be launched. Erin wants to focus on the development of the AMC cable TV network, hoping to develop AMC into the most successful cable TV network in the United States. Hearing Erin's words, Nancy Josephson nodded seriously. I will communicate with the BBC. I believe they will not refuse Erin Anderson's cooperation. There is no way. Now even the British box office record 4 Weddings and a Funeral was produced by Shu Guang, and The Crying Game that shined at the Oscars was also invested and distributed by Shu Guang. Shu Guang's reputation in the UK is not low. After chatting with Nancy Josephson, Erin left the hotel with Monica Bellucci. In the bathroom, Monica Bellucci hugged Erin tightly, and her hot lips ravaged the man's face. Well, Erin responded enthusiastically while feeling the girl's 30-60. Well, next, are you going back to Italy? Monica Bellucci smiled and nodded. I'm going home, and I'll probably stay for up to a month. Why, you want to go too? Erin supported her. There's a chance. Don't worry. When you go back this time, buy me a vacation villa on Lake Como in Italy, then we can go there together. Lake Como is a glacial lake in the Italian Alps and one of the most famous tourist destinations, not far north of Milan. Yeah, sure. After a while, with Erin's comfort, Monica Bellucci squatted down. Chapter 287 Soul Figure. In Burbank, at the restaurant at Disney headquarters, Michael Eisner invited Michael Ovitz to lunch and again proposed that he join Disney as his partner. Michael Ovitz thought the idea was a good one. A partner is someone who manages the company together, right? Just like my relationship with Ronald Mayer at CAA. Michael Eisner was silent for a moment. Film groups are different from agencies. In the United States, There's no precedent for companies with co-chairman. Michael Ovitz nodded. Let me think about it for a while. By the way, what's going on with Jeffrey Katzenberg now? Michael Eisner sighed. I've already shared the work with others. Jeffrey and I are in a cold war now. He's obsessed with becoming Disney's president, and I increasingly don't want to see him around. Michael Ovitz was helpless. It seemed the two had reached a point of no return. Jeffrey Katzenberg was also preparing his own escape route, convincing Steven Spielberg to start a film company with him. Elsewhere, at Dawn headquarters, Nancy Josephson arrived at Dawn Television with the script for the television series Pride and Prejudice. Under the arrangement of Aaron Anderson, Dawn Television and the BBC jointly purchased the script to develop a new version of Pride and Prejudice. Aaron also instructed AMC Cable Network's president Jovan Adams to discuss a new, deeper partnership with the BBC. My Best Friend's Wedding grossed $110 million in North America and $140 million overseas, bringing its global total to $250 million. Aaron then flew from Los Angeles to London, England. At the Savoy Hotel in London, Dawn UK hosted a press conference for Sense and Sensibility, hosted by Graham Bradstreet, head of Dawn UK. The film's director, Ang Lee, and stars Emma Thompson, Hugh Grant, and Kate Winslet were in attendance. Sense and Sensibility, the first published work by British author Jane Austen, was a flop upon its release. Phantom Studios had been considering adapting the novel for several years. Phantom Studios president Lindsay Doran had previously collaborated with Emma Thompson on the film The Last Days, and shortly thereafter, she selected Thompson to adapt the novel into a screenplay. How did they choose director Ang Lee? Aaron asked Graham Bradstreet, who was standing nearby. Graham Bradstreet took a look and smiled. It's because Ang Lee's trilogy about fathers is a perfect fit. Actually, the script had already been adapted several times when it was delivered to Ang Lee, and his previous films were also about the conflict between reason and emotion. Taking on Sense and Sensibility is a new venture for him. As for choosing Emma Thompson as the film's leading lady, it was mainly due to her fame. As the film's screenwriter and an Oscar-winning actress, Emma Thompson's participation not only speeds up the film's development but also ensures its quality. Furthermore, when writing the script, Emma Thompson had hoped Hugh Grant would play the role of Edward Ferrars. After reading the script, Hugh Grant was so impressed that he was willing to take a reduced salary to play the role. Aaron glanced at the young Kate Winslet not far away, who was playing the supporting actress in the film. The future famous Rousey was only 19 years old at the moment. Aaron nodded. Director Ang Lee's style is incredibly nuanced, and his works always hold diverse meanings. Perhaps Dawn can continue collaborating with him in the future. Sense and Sensibility centers on love and marriage, depicting the contrasting perspectives on love and marriage expressed by two sisters, one rational and the other emotional. Jane Austen's novel, in its treatment of the relationship between sex, love, and marriage, largely ignores the sexual dimension, prioritizing marriage over emotional connection. These elements resonate with Eastern Confucianism and its intellectual aesthetic. Jane Austen's novel reveals anxiety and fear about relationships, emphasizing that marriage was crucial for women of her time to achieve social acceptance and secure a livelihood. The contrast and shift between rationality and emotion, this transformative duality, is not often found in Western culture, but is more easily understood by Chinese people. Director Ang Lee, skilled in expressing delicate emotions, is able to interpret the elegant reserve of classical British culture with Eastern reserve and implicitness. By the way, what's producer Richard Curtis been up to lately? Dawn's romantic comedy script, Notting Hill, seems to fit his style perfectly. Aaron then asked Graham Bradstreet about the script idea. Richard Curtis wrote and produced last year's British romantic comedy, 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Aaron had been preparing the script idea for Notting Hill for a long time, and it was time to officially start planning. Richard Curtis, he produced and wrote a comedy for the BBC this year, The Vicar of Tibborough, which is about Traer. Next, I'll invite him to adapt the script for Notting Hill, and then we'll start production. Graham Bradstreet had already understood the explosive power of romantic comedies from the success of 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Naturally, he attached great importance to Notting Hill. However, Richard Curtis has been quite busy, having developed the Mr. Bean in Blackadder series. Now, he's working on The Vicar of Tibborough, proving his strength and ability in the romantic comedy genre. Aaron stroked his chin. Hasn't Richard Curtis and Rowan Atkinson ever considered adapting Mr. Bean into film? The Mr. Bean series was co-written by Richard Curtis, Rowan Atkinson, and others. Rowan Atkinson, The series' core figure is also a renowned British comedy master and internationally influential. Adapting Mr. Bean into film, Graham Bradstreet pondered. It seemed feasible. All it would take was negotiating an adaptation with ITV. Could ITV refuse Xu Guang's offer? I think it's okay. We can first discuss it with Richard Curtis and Rowan Atkinson. After all, these two are the souls of M.R. Bean. Graham Bradstreet was going to find Richard Curtis to develop the Notting Hill project anyway, so having another M.R. Bean wouldn't be a big deal, and in M.R. Bean, Rowan Atkinson is definitely indispensable, as he now represents Mr. Bean. Chapter 288 Milestone. Aaron, Catherine Zeta-Jones, arriving at the hotel, hugged the man. Why didn't you tell me you were in London? I could have picked you up. Yes, I'll pick you up tonight. Aaron put his arm around the woman's waist, kissed her cheek, and smiled. Now, you're a huge star in Britain. The Mask of Zorro and My Best Friend's Wedding had skyrocketed Catherine Zeta-Jones' fame, introducing countless people to the charm of this classic yet sensual English rose. Catherine Zeta-Jones smiled, then smothered Aaron's mouth with a passionate kiss. Soon after, the two left the Savoy Hotel together and headed to Annabelle's private club in London for a night out. Annabelle's is a discreet, upscale club in London that attracts politicians, wealthy businesspeople, celebrities, and even members of the British royal family. By the way, how long have you been back in England? Aaron asked, hugging Catherine Zeta-Jones on the sofa. It's been over a month. I was at home in Swansea for about 2 weeks before coming to London to film a commercial. Catherine Zeta-Jones sat in Aaron's arms, her arm around his neck, a display of affection. That's great. You should be heading straight back to Hollywood next, right? Aaron said, caressing his thigh. Yes, Catherine Zeta-Jones kissed Aaron on the cheek. How long are you planning on staying in London? About a week. I'll be visiting Dawn TV's UK headquarters in Buckingham and meeting with the BBC's international operations. Dawn TV just partnered with the BBC on another Jane Austen novel, Pride and Prejudice, for a TV series. Aaron was very concerned about the partnership between AMC and the BBC, hoping AMC could expand its international presence as quickly as possible. Dawn TV's first original series would premiere on AMC next month, and he was very confident. Furthermore, Friends Season 1 will premiere on NBC next month, and distribution and international licensing will also need to go through AMC. I see. By the way, is Dawn's The Silence of the Lambs prequel, Red Dragon still filming? Catherine Zeta-Jones suddenly inquired. Aaron smiled and rubbed the woman's arms. Why, are you following this movie too? It's still filming, but we're wrapping up soon. Director Jonathan Demme has quite high standards for this film. After all, Jonathan Demme had already successfully directed such critically acclaimed and box office hits as The Silence of the Lambs and The Philadelphia Story. Well, I met Anthony Hopkins in London before, and I played his daughter in The Mask of Zorro. Mr. Hopkins seems to have collaborated with Xu Guang a lot, in The Silence of the Lambs series, The Mask of Zorro, and Legends of the Fallen. Nicolas Cage, Anthony Hopkins and Ralph Fiennes collaborated in Red Dragon. In fact, these people have all worked with Aaron before. Anthony Hopkins goes without saying. Nicolas Cage first collaborated with Aaron in Phone Booth, and Ralph Fiennes collaborated with Aaron in Schindler's List. Come, have a drink. Catherine Zeta-Jones picked up the 2 glasses of wine on the table and handed one to Aaron. To celebrate Dawn's big hit this summer, Forrest Gump has already broken $150 million at the North American box office. Now overseas, it seems to have exceeded $100 million as well. Aaron smiled, picked up his glass and clinked it with the other person, then drank it all in one gulp. At night, in a Thames River villa in Hammersmith, London, Aaron rolled off Catherine Zeta-Jones and took a few breaths. Catherine Zeta-Jones, who was sweating profusely, reached out and stroked Aaron's body. Honey, you're really amazing tonight. Well, wasn't I amazing before? Oh, you know, that's not what I meant. With that, Catherine Zeta-Jones lay in the man's arms. Aaron Anderson caressed the girl's sexy body while asking, when we just left Annabelle's club, we met a couple. Was the woman the Princess Diana? Catherine Zeta-Jones nodded. Indeed, it was Princess Diana. The man should be her current boyfriend. Aaron blinked. Our Diana and Charles divorced. Not really. They just officially separated at the end of last year, Catherine Zeta-Jones explained. You know, This kind of marriage involving the successor to the British throne is definitely a major matter for the British royal family. It's very complicated to deal with, Aaron sneered. The relationships in the European royal families are really messy. Well, it's okay, Catherine Zeta-Jones said with a smile and kissed Aaron on the mouth. Okay, let's go take a shower together, Aaron patted the girl on his body. Meanwhile, back in Hollywood, the Chinese-language action film Rumble in the Bronx, a collaboration between Dawn and Golden Harvest Films, finally opened in North America. It opened in 1,700 theaters and grossed $9.85 million over its first 3 days, a new record for a Chinese-language film. Dawn distributed Rumble in the Bronx as a blockbuster, and for a film with a budget of just $10 million, it was a success. The Hollywood Reporter, as an action film, Rumble in the Bronx has grand scenes and rich settings. The crowd scenes in parking lots, downtown areas, buildings, casinos, beaches, and lawns are real and vivid. The colors are rich and bright, and the martial arts props are surprisingly fresh. Box Office Magazine. The biggest highlight of Rumble in the Bronx is its unique action and novel form. The Houston Post. Rumble in the Bronx is fast-paced, interesting, and thrilling. For American audiences who are not familiar with Hong Kong action movies, this is a good introduction. Rumble in the Bronx, starring Jack Chang, has already achieved success in Asia. The North American release has also allowed Jack Chang to successfully enter the North American film market commercially. The good reputation of the film can be said to have made many American audiences know Jack Chang. It is obvious that Rumble in the Bronx will be a milestone for Jack Chang to enter the mainstream North American film market. Chapter 289 Enviable. At the Dorchester Hotel in London's Mayfair district, Sophie Marceau, fresh from filming Braveheart in Scotland, arrived in London to promote Braveheart. Harrison Ford, really good. Braveheart opened to $20 million in North America, Aaron said, sitting on the sofa. He couldn't help but give Harrison Ford a thumbs up for his performance in recent years. Sophie Marceau shrugged and smiled. Are you keeping an eye on other films? My Best Friend's Wedding, Forrest Gump, An Interview with a Vampire. They all did really well at the box office. Aaron reached out and stroked Sophie Marceau's thigh. How was Braveheart? How was filming Braveheart? Both Braveheart and Braveheart were Paramount productions, the former a collaboration between Paramount and Universal, the latter a collaboration between Paramount and 20th Century Fox. Since Sherry Lansing took over, Paramount has preferred to collaborate with other major studios on film development to reduce investment risk. It feels very ordinary, Sophie Marceau said with a casual expression on her beautiful face. This Braveheart is basically a one-man show for the male lead, Mel Gibson. The others are just supporting roles. Most of the time I was on the crew, I was just waiting. Sophie Marceau's role in Braveheart was not very large. She was just responsible for being beautiful and had no chance to show her true colors. However, Sophie Marceau signed a 3-film contract with Paramount, and now 2 have been completed with 1 left. The box office should be good, Aaron said as he kissed a girl, reaching out to unbutton her shirt and feel the softness. Yet, Sophie Marceau responded to Aaron's kiss enthusiastically, and then took the initiative to take off their clothes. Aaron pushed Sophie Marceau onto the sofa. How long will you be staying in London? Sophie Marceau gasped. I'm heading back to the States soon. I'll just have to attend the movie premiere and promote it in London. After I get back to the States, I'll have to do some interviews and promotions with TV stations and news media. Aaron smiled. Isn't the pace of Hollywood much faster than in France? It is indeed much faster, Sophie Marceau said, hugging the man tightly and kissing him. Honey, don't waste time. Don't you miss me? Aaron met with the head of the BBC's international department, and the 2 sides reached a series of cooperation agreements. For the United States, Britain is the birthplace of English literature, with a cultural heritage that is unmatched. Buckingham, the headquarters of Dawn UK Film Company. Graham Bradstreet reported to Aaron, I've already met with Richard Curtis. He really likes the idea of Notting Hill and is very willing to develop it. He's also supportive of the idea of a film adaptation of Mr. Bean. After he finishes adapting Notting Hill, he'll also start working on the screenplay for the Mr. Bean film. Aaron nodded. Next up, The Mask will be released in Europe. It's a huge hit in the US, and I'm sure there will be surprises here too. The Mask broke the $50 million mark in North America within 10 days of its release. In just 3 weeks, it had already grossed $70 million in North America. Aaron then purchased a single-family house in London's Hyde Park as his future residence. At night, in the living room of Catherine Zeta-Jones's villa, Aaron sat on the sofa, flipping through the newspaper. The Rwandan genocide finally ended in the middle of last month. According to investigations, between 800,000 and 1 million Tutsis were killed. It's truly atrocious, Aaron said, shaking his head. No wonder Jack Wells was obsessed with the arms trade in Africa. It was truly chaotic. Aaron, Catherine Zeta-Jones, freshly showered, came and sat down beside the man. Don is developing 2 Jane Austen novels this year, the film Sense and Sensibility, and the TV series Pride and Prejudice. Aaron smiled, then pulled the woman into his arms. Because Jane Austen's novels have a large enough fan base, they're also suitable for adaptation. Furthermore, Don's Crescent Films has also partnered with Polygram on the film A Man Walking Dead. Well, Catherine Zeta-Jones kissed the man on the cheek. Forrest Gump has grossed over $180 million in North America. It's practically the most talked about film ever. What a shame. Disney's animated feature The Lion King has already grossed over $250 million in North America, Aaron said, reaching out to stroke the woman's thigh. Aaron, the newspapers say The Lion King has caused quite a bit of protest in Japan. Many Japanese manga artists and animators have signed a petition accusing Disney of plagiarism. The Lion King is believed to be based on the late animator Osamu Tezuka's 1960s Japanese anime series, The Jungle Emperor, as many characters and scenes in The Jungle Emperor are similar. However, The Lion King's director, Roger Allers, denied this allegation, stating that he was completely unfamiliar with The Jungle Emperor until The Lion King was nearing completion and had no recollection of it ever being mentioned during development. Aaron leaned back on the sofa. Disney's legal department is intimidating. Why worry about them? They have 100 ways to handle this. However, the performance of The Lion King was indeed enviable. Not only in North America, but also internationally, the box office has already exceeded $300 million. But Disney isn't like Dawn. It also has excellent films like The Mask, Interview with a Vampire, and My Best Friend's Wedding released at the same time. Catherine Zeta-Jones wrapped her arms around Aaron's neck, displaying their intimacy. Aaron kissed the sexy woman in his arms directly on the mouth, earning a passionate response from Catherine Zeta-Jones. Then, Aaron picked up the enthusiastic Catherine Zeta-Jones and carried them to the bedroom. Aaron's stay in the UK won't be long, as he's planning a vacation with the Wang Xuexin to Ibiza, Spain. Ever since filming The Blood and Tears of Chinese Laborers, Wang Xuexin has been staying in Vancouver. Now that Jack Chang's Rumble in the Bronx is out, Aaron called her a couple of days ago and plans to take her on vacation in Europe. I've been sick these past few days, and I've been on IV drips at the hospital. Oh well. Chapter 290 Panasonic Spain. In Ibiza, Spain, Aaron and the voluptuous Wang Xuexin were lounging on the beach, soaking up the sun. After all, Aaron had a luxurious vacation home there. Lying on a beach chair, Aaron looked at Wang Xuexin. When are you planning on returning to Hong Kong? This month. I have a movie to shoot there. Wang Xuexin had taken a long break this year, and it was time to get back into work. By the way, I was in Canada and saw that Rumble in the Bronx was doing quite well, with quite a few newspapers giving it high reviews. It's already grossed over $17 million in North America. Is it a success? Aaron smiled. Of course it is. This kind of kung fu film has a market share in the video market. Besides, Rumble in the Bronx is projected to gross over $30 million in North America, and Dawn's total investment in the film was only a little over $5 million. Dawn held the distribution rights for Rumble in the Bronx in North America, Latin America, and Europe, while Golden Harvest focused on the Asian and Australian markets. Jack Chang's entry into Hollywood was already Golden Harvest's greatest achievement. Okay, let's get something to eat and then check out a nearby bar later, Aaron said, standing up and stretching. Ibiza is not only beautiful, with its white buildings, azure sea, and brilliant sunshine, it's also the birthplace of Chopin and the birthplace of chivalric music. Ibiza is also world-renowned for its vibrant nightlife and electronic music. Meanwhile, in New York, construction has officially begun on the Dawn Tower, designed by Chinese-American architect I.M. Pei. This 60-story skyscraper will house offices, residences, and a shopping mall, with a budget exceeding $400 million. Following the completion of Dawn Studios' headquarters in Burbank, Los Angeles, Dawn has another major project in New York. Meanwhile, MCA Universal was also facing internal problems. The blockbuster Waterworld, Directed by Kevin Reynolds and starring Kevin Costner as producer and actor, was filming in Hawaii during hurricane season. The established offshore studios were repeatedly damaged by hurricanes and inundated by waves, causing the film's budget to continue to grow. The cost of Waterworld has already reached a staggering $150 million. Furthermore, a major dispute between directors Kevin Reynolds and Kevin Costner over the film led to Reynolds' departure from the project. Now, before filming has even wrapped, the director has left the production, with Kevin Costner taking over as director. After failing to convince Panasonic's new president, Yoichi Morishita, to build Universal Studios Japan in Osaka to compete with Tokyo Disneyland, MCA executives Sidney Sheinberg and Lou Wasserman lobbied Panasonic to partner with it to acquire the CBS network, as Universal currently lacked a cable or wireless distribution business. Unfortunately, they were once again rejected. Furious, they wrote a letter to Panasonic chairman Masaharu Matsushita, only to receive a resolution vetoing the CBS acquisition proposal. Sidney Sheinberg, a hot-tempered businessman, lashed out at Panasonic in the New York Times. The Japanese company's action signaled to both of them that Panasonic was indeed looking to sell MCA. At CAA headquarters in Los Angeles, Michael Ovitz and Ronald Mayer sat in their office. Although Michael Ovitz and Disney chairman Michael Eisner were currently at odds, CAA was his primary responsibility. Panasonic wants to sell MCA. Michael Ovitz sighed. He had acted as an advisor on Panasonic's acquisition of the company a few years earlier. Lou and Sidney don't seem to trust us. They're contacting Herbert Allen, Ronald Mayer reminded him. It was Sidney Sheinberg and Lou Wasserman who really didn't trust Michael Ovitz. Michael Ovitz smiled. Herbert Allen called me and said if I don't participate in the sale of MCA, he won't participate either, so Panasonic is the one anxious now. They want to sell MCA as a whole as soon as possible and get out of the game. As far as Michael Ovitz knew, potential buyers for MCA included Canada's Seagram, Britain's Polygram, Germany's Bertelsmann, and even News Corporation and Disney. However, Rupert Murdoch and Michael Eisner wanted to acquire Universal's film library on behalf of 20th Century Fox and Disney. A short while later, Michael Ovitz's assistant delivered a fax. Michael Ovitz glanced at it and a smile spread across his face. "See, it's me again." Ronald Mayer took the fax and saw it was from Herbert Allen. He and Michael Ovitz would be flying to Osaka, Japan, to discuss matters with Masaharu Matsushita and Yoichi Morishita. In reality, Michael Ovitz secretly hoped that Seagram's acquisition of MCA Universal was possible, as Seagram's head, Edgar Bronfman Jr., had said he was the most suitable person to manage MCA Universal. No matter how well CAA performed, it was still just an agency. Michael Ovitz's ambitions were rapidly growing. He wanted to become a true entertainment mogul. Considered On Entertainment, Hollywood's most rapidly developing film group. The young Aaron Anderson was the center of attention. Don's valuation was skyrocketing, now rivaling the Big Six studios. "When are you planning to go to Japan?" Ronald Mayer asked. Michael Ovitz was the CEO of CAA, and he was the president. "As soon as possible. There's a lot to discuss, and we need time to calculate the value of MCA Universal's assets. That includes Universal's copyright library, its film and television projects in the pipeline, MCA Music's business, and Universal Studios theme parks and resorts." The losses MCA had inflicted on Panasonic in recent years had become unbearable, and they wanted to end it all quickly. Ronald Mayer smiled. "Seagram's advantage is enormous. Edgar Bronfman Jr. is willing to sell DuPont stock, which would allow him to come up with tens of billions of dollars in cash all at once, without the need for a bank, or other buyers possible." Seagram had previously offered the same idea when he wanted to acquire Time Warner, but the plan fell through due to Steve Ross's death. Ronald Mayer also knew that Michael Ovitz wanted to leave CAA, and Disney and MCA were his fallback options. Michael Ovitz hadn't agreed to let Michael Eisner join Disney because Edgar Bronfman Jr. had promised him to run MCA Universal. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291, Powerful Alliance. At night, in the bedroom of their holiday villa in Ibiza, Aaron leaned against Wang Xiuxin's chest. "By the way, does Jack Chang plan to continue filming in Hong Kong?" Wang Xiuxin nodded. I'm not entirely sure, but he's currently shooting a racing action film, Peely Torch, in Japan. The North American success of Rumble in the Bronx has definitely boosted the investment in Peely Torch. Aaron kissed the girl on the cheek. I see. With the yen appreciating and the USD-JPY exchange rate falling below 100, filming in Japan is costing even more. After all, the Hong Kong dollar and the US dollar are linked. Shu Guang, do you want to continue working with Jack Cheng on films? Wang Xiuxin inquired. Of course, there's a market for action comedies like Rumble in the Bronx in North America. Besides, if Aaron doesn't take action, New Line Cinema, which previously collaborated with Golden Harvest, has also been eyeing them. Action comedies like the Rush Hour series are not to be missed. Wang Xiuxin smiled and began caressing Aaron. Well, do you want to come back to Hong Kong with me? Shu Guang's films are about to be released in Asia soon. Aaron thought for a moment. Indeed, it's time to go over there and take a look, but not now. Maybe later. I'll find you there then. Is it during Christmas? Wang Xiuxin inquired. After all, Aaron had always visited Asia during Christmas or New Year's. Oh, not that late. With that, Aaron slumped over the woman, sealing her lips with a passionate kiss. I'll wait, Wang Xiuxin responded, hugging the man tightly. Aaron's main reason for going to Asia was to keep an eye on the development of Shu Guang Japan Film Company, but for this first stop, Aaron would choose Hong Kong. After spending a few days in Ibiza, Spain, Aaron returned to New York, while Wang Xiuxin flew directly back to Hong Kong. Because new collective bargaining agreements for the 1994 MLB baseball season failed to be reached, the season was suspended midway, and subsequent games were canceled. This shocked both the NBA and the labor union, who were in the midst of a new round of negotiations. To avoid a similar NBA season suspension, the league owners and the players' union reached a brief agreement, a temporary compromise. Does this mean a temporary suspension? Aaron stood by the window of Don's New York office in Lower Manhattan, a glass of wine in hand. Jack Wells nodded nearby. It's all about ensuring the smooth progress of the 1994 to 1995 season. Jack Wells represented Aaron's Houston Rockets and often attended NBA meetings on his behalf. If we can't reach an agreement next season, won't we still have to shut down? Aaron sighed. But it doesn't matter. The Houston Rockets won their first championship this year anyway. It would be best if next season could proceed normally. The Houston Rockets' chances of winning the Triple Crown remained extremely high. Aaron knew that Michael Jordan's first comeback was not far off. In the afternoon, Aaron and Jack Wells arrived at the Dome Tower construction site in Times Square. New Mayor Rudy Giuliani's Times Square cleanup is truly tough. Aaron noticed that the various adult shops and brothels on 42nd Street had been closed, replaced by more upscale businesses. Furthermore, public security had improved significantly, with more frequent police patrols. Jack Wells spread his hands. The papers say this tough mayor is very tough on crime. He won't tolerate the presence of brothels everywhere either. Aaron stretched his arms, gazing at the Dome Tower construction site. When it's completed, it'll be a landmark building in Times Square. That evening, at the Pierre Hotel on New York's Upper East Side, Aaron and Christiana Yerry attended a business reception. She had just finished filming Scream. Is Jim Carrey still filming New Line's Dumb and Dumber? Christiana Yerry smiled. It's already wrapped, and New Line has scheduled Dumb and Dumber for a Christmas release. This year, Jim Carrey has released two successful films, Ace Ventura and The Mask. North American audiences are now enamored with Jim Carrey and have high expectations for his comedies. Well, we'll also have to start preparing for Ace Ventura 2 as soon as possible, for release next year, Aaron said, taking a sip of his wine. Jim Carrey's commercial value has been proven. Soon, Aaron started chatting with tonight's target, Ted Turner. After meeting with Time Warner chairman and CEO Gerard Levine in Sun Valley, Idaho, Aaron had developed some ambitions for TBS. Hey, Aaron, Dawn has been making a lot of movies lately. The AMC cable channel has both original TV series and classic old movies. Ted Turner's newly created TCM channel is a competitor of AMC. Originally, TBS had the advantage with MGM's classic film library, but unfortunately, Dawn acquired the Samuel Gwen Films and Orion Films this year, suddenly adding 2,000 or 3,000 feature films. Turner Broadcasting is not bad either. Did they also acquire New Line and Castle Rock? Aaron smiled, but New Line and Castle Rock both retained a high degree of independence. Ted Turner shook his head. When it comes to movies, who can compare to you? Ted Turner's strengths are running TV stations and the news industry. Aaron shrugged. Now the merger of TV stations and film companies has become a big deal. Although TBS has acquired independent film companies such as New Line and Castle Rock, but in the end, it's just a small-scale move. Doesn't Turner Broadcasting have any ideas to go further? Go further? Ted Turner stared at Aaron. He understood what he meant. Today, Dawn Films is the true seventh largest film group in Hollywood, far surpassing MGM. Its only flaw is that it is too young and does not have much foundation. Aaron, do you mean you're Dawn and my Turner Broadcasting? If TBS merges with Dawn, it will directly become a giant media group in Hollywood, and its scale will not be comparable to Time Warner, Viacom and Disney. What do you think, Mr. Turner? Aaron said, raising his glass and clinking it with the other party. Ted Turner took a sip of wine and was indeed tempted. After all, the prospects of Dawn Films were beyond words. It was a hot commodity in Hollywood. CNN, which was owned by Turner Broadcasting, was also the TV station with the highest ratings. If Turner merged with Dawn, it would definitely be a powerful combination. Chapter 292, Tentacles Reaching into Asia. Turner Broadcasting's major shareholders, besides Ted Turner himself, include Time Warner, Liberty Media, and others, all holding significant stakes. Even if Aaron Anderson and Ted Turner were to consider merging Dawn and Turner Broadcasting, it wouldn't be easy to pull off. Turner Broadcasting is now significantly more valuable than Dawn, but Dawn, with Aaron Anderson, holds greater potential. So, who will ultimately acquire whom? In a high-rise suite at the Pierre Hotel, Aaron embraced the voluptuous Christiana Yerry, standing by the window as they admired the Manhattan nightscape. Pulp Fiction has already opened in France, and it's set to hit North America next month, followed by Europe. Christiana Yerry leaned into the man's arms and kissed him. Aaron smiled, reaching into the girl's silk pajamas, feeling the softness. This movie has such great reviews. I'm really looking forward to it. Ever since its blockbuster debut at the Cannes Film Festival, Pulp Fiction has been highly anticipated, and Aaron was eager to see the huge response it would receive upon its official release. Quentin Tarantino's film would surely surprise audiences. Forrest Gump has already grossed over $220 million in North America and over $200 million overseas. Aaron, Forrest Gump is arguably the biggest hit of the year. In Christiana Yerry's opinion, no other film this year could compare to Forrest Gump. That's for sure, Aaron said, kissing the girl, their tongues entwined as they caressed the voluptuous beauty before them. Christiana Yerry responded enthusiastically, lifting her legs to wrap around his waist. Feeling the girl's passion, Aaron soon entered the room, carrying Christiana Yerry and throwing himself at her. At the end of August, Aaron finally returned to Hong Kong. At the Mandarin Oriental Hotel, Aaron enjoyed afternoon tea with Raymond Chow, head of Golden Harvest. Do you want to develop a Hollywood action comedy starring Jack Chang? Chow hesitated. While Rumble in the Bronx had brought Jack Chang some fame in Hollywood, he was concerned that Hollywood directors wouldn't understand Jack Chang's comedic style. Aaron noticed his hesitation, smiled, and inquired, Mr. Chow, are you worried that Hollywood won't be a good fit for Jack Chang? After all, Jack Chang's previous attempts to break into Hollywood hadn't been very successful, and he deeply disliked the arrogance of Hollywood directors. Aaron, you know, Jack Chang's style is thrilling and exciting action comedy. If he loses this, Jack Chang will not be Jack Chang. Zhu Wenhui is still worried that Jack Chang will fail in Hollywood like he did a few years ago, which will further undermine his self-confidence. Aaron shook his head. Don't worry, this time we've promised to hand over the action scenes to Jack Chang's team. The Hollywood director we hire will also listen carefully to Jack Chang's opinions and strive to bring out his strengths. Zhu Wenhui glanced at Aaron and smiled. In that case, we'd definitely be willing to push Jack Chang into Hollywood. However, Jack Chang is currently filming a movie in Southeast Asia. He originally planned to shoot it in Japan, but unfortunately, the yen has appreciated, so filming in Southeast Asia would save a lot of money. We can discuss this after Jack Chang finishes the movie. Aaron smiled, raised his glass, and clinked it with the other man. Then, I wish us a big box office success. Rumble in the Bronx is currently approaching $30 million at the North American box office, and it will definitely exceed that figure when it is finally released. Shu Guang also holds the North American distribution rights for Jack Chang's films, Super Cop and Project Condor. The Hong Kong real estate market feels like it's going crazy. That evening, Aaron leaned back on the sofa in his villa in Repulse Bay on Hong Kong Island and couldn't help but sigh. Aaron's Heiho fund currently owns 7 luxury villas in Hong Kong, and their values are skyrocketing. Yet, everyone's speculating in real estate these days. Wang Xiuxin straddled the man's lap, wrapped her arms around his neck, and kissed him. The value of my properties has also increased quite a bit. It was clear that Wang Xiuxin had indeed made some money investing in real estate over the past 2 years. Aaron smiled, reaching out to stroke the woman's smooth, white thigh. Hong Kong's real estate market is truly crazy, a bit excessive. However, there was no other way. Look at these wealthy families in Hong Kong, all of whom own several major real estate groups. By the way, how's the deal with the Golden Harvest regarding Jack Chang's new film going? Wang Xiuxin inquired. It will be developed. After Jack Chang's Thunderbolt series is finished, Xu Guang will prepare a new script specifically for him. When it's done, we'll make full use of Jack Chang's action and comedic talents. Aaron had already had Xu Guang register the idea for the Rush Hour series with the Writers Guild, so they could just find someone to revise it. However, the director for Rush Hour hasn't been decided yet. They need to find a director with a passion for this type of work. Well, that's great. Taipei has opened up its channels for importing Western films, and Hollywood blockbusters with more advanced technology and better production are starting to make inroads into the entire Asian film market. I've heard that even mainland China is discussing opening up access to Hollywood films. Wang Xiuxin put her arm around Aaron's neck. Hong Kong films were truly losing their once largest foreign market and source of funding. The past year was considered the last of Hong Kong cinema's glory. Aaron smiled. Yet, having lost Taipei, the largest foreign market and the most important source of funding, it can compete head-on with Hollywood. The powerful Hong Kong film industry seems to be gradually sinking into the quagmire. As for the mainland market across the way, Aaron really didn't care much. Even if it opened up to imported films this year, but with a quota of 10 films a year, and a different box office revenue sharing model from the international box office, it would be difficult for Hollywood films to make money in the mainland market. As he spoke, Aaron hugged Wang Xiuxin in his arms and kissed her passionately. At the same time, Australia's News Corporation acquired a majority stake in Hong Kong's satellite TV company. It was a satellite channel founded by Hutchison Whampoa 3 years ago. After News Corporation's layout in Australia, North America and Europe, its tentacles finally extended to Asia. Alice, I quit today. Going to work in a small place really can't do. Chapter 293 Family Monopoly. Hong Kong, on par with New York and London, is the world's third largest financial center, a major hub for international finance, trade, shipping, and innovation. Since the 1990s, Hong Kong's real estate sector has been booming, becoming a pillar of industry alongside finance and tourism. With the arrival of 1997, some British financial conglomerates in Hong Kong began to withdraw, relocating some companies to London or Singapore. Established British conglomerates like Jardine Matheson, Swire, and HSBC also seized the opportunity to reap the rewards, transferring large sums of money back to China. Early in the morning, in the bedroom of the Repulse Bay Villa, Aaron lay on top of Wang Xiuxin. It seems that Hong Kong filmmakers are very dissatisfied with Taipei's regulations on performer pay. Well, directors, actors, and some behind-the-scenes staff aren't very satisfied. Everyone still believes that Taipei can't do without Hong Kong films, Wang Xiuxin explained, rubbing Aaron's back. Hong Kong films have long flourished in Southeast Asia, Taipei, and South Korea, and they're certainly not afraid of competing with Hollywood. Aaron smiled. Didn't Jurassic Park and Speed make Hong Kong filmmakers feel the power of Hollywood blockbusters? Wang Xiuxin nodded. Some filmmakers are still very worried. Okay, let's get up, Aaron said, rubbing the girl's body. In the afternoon, at the Peninsula Hotel, Aaron Anderson and Michael Cattery enjoyed afternoon tea together. As the owner of the Peninsula Hotel's parent company, the Hong Kong Shanghai Hotel Group, Michael Cattery took over the family business after his father Lawrence Cattery passed away last year. The Peninsula Hotel in Hong Kong is worthy of the title of the Lady of the Far East. Aaron took a sip of coffee. This year, the Peninsula Hotel in Hong Kong is building a new 30-story North Wing building. As the flagship store of the Peninsula Hotel, the Peninsula Hotel in Hong Kong is also famous enough. Michael Cattery, 53 years old, looked at Aaron and smiled. Mr. Anderson, are you optimistic about the development of Hong Kong? The Cattery family's businesses are strong in electricity, textiles, real estate, and banking. making them one of the representatives of the British financial conglomerates in Hong Kong. With the CLP Group, the Peninsula Hotel, and their involvement in the construction of the Daya Bay nuclear power station, the Qatari family's influence in Hong Kong is significant. Aaron nodded. Who wouldn't be optimistic about Hong Kong's current rate of development? It's just that it seems difficult to enter Hong Kong in all aspects these days. Finance, real estate, hydropower, and other sectors are all controlled by a few major families, making it difficult for outsiders to get involved. Both the British and Chinese financial conglomerates are family-owned, monopolistic businesses. Aaron, you're a rising young tycoon in Hollywood, and your sights should be on the entertainment industry, and Hong Kong's entertainment industry is extremely developed, just right for you. Michael Qatari didn't dare underestimate the renowned Dawn Group. Aaron Anderson's rise to fame was simply too rapid. Aaron shrugged. Hong Kong is such a small place, how big can the entertainment market be? Then, Aaron turned his gaze to the inland area across the sea. It was that future market that would attract Aaron's attention. Just this year, the Film Bureau of the China Radio, Film and Television Administration approved the annual import of 10 films that basically reflect the outstanding achievements of world civilization and basically express the achievements of contemporary film art and technology. However, the film and entertainment market, because it involves various stakeholders, has caused heated debate, and there is no specific time for the release of the first imported blockbuster. In the evening, at the Repulse Bay Villa, Aaron leaned back on the sofa and read the newspaper. The Venice International Film Festival in Italy was underway. Dawn Pictures' work Pulp Fiction also had its North American release. There are so many good movies this year, Wang Xuexin said, sitting down next to Aaron. Among the Chinese films, there are excellent works such as Ashes of Time, Zhongking Express, Sunny Days, and To Live. Yes, there are quite a few, Aaron smiled, putting down the newspaper in his hand. At the previous Cannes Film Festival, there were several films competing with Pulp Fiction for the Palme d'Or. The Chinese film To Live won the Cannes Jury Prize in Best Actor, and another film, Red of the Blue, White, and Red Trilogy, has also received good reviews. Needless to say, Hollywood has already released excellent films like Forrest Gump, The Lion King, An Interview with a Vampire. Also coming soon are Pulp Fiction, The Shawshank Redemption, and Leon, the Professional. By the way, have you made any progress on the VCD manufacturing company you've been following in mainland China? Aaron suddenly inquired. After all, he'd always wanted to see this piece of cake. Wang Xuexin nodded. Currently, VCDs in China are primarily Wanyan brand, and they hold over 90% of the market share. However, due to the content, shipments aren't that large yet. Wanyan has acquired a number of audio and video companies and is releasing VCD songs and other content. I've acquired audio and video companies in several stores in cities like Beijing and Shanghai, specializing in selling VCDs and VCD players. Not bad, Aaron said, taking out a checkbook from his pocket, wrote a check for $2 million and handed it to the other party. Take it, when the time comes, you can just expand your business. Wang Xuexin thought for a while. I have money, Aaron smiled. This amount of money is just a drop in the bucket for me. Just consider it as my investment. You know I have a Heihe investment company in Hong Kong. Well, okay, Wang Xuexin did not act pretentiously. Now the RMB has undergone an exchange rate reform. Since the beginning of this year, the RMB has changed from a dual exchange rate system with an official quotation and a foreign exchange adjustment price to a single, managed floating exchange rate system based on market supply and demand. In addition, China has also established an interbank foreign exchange trading market and improved the exchange rate formation mechanism. Now $1 is exchanged for 8.6 RMB, and $2 million is more than 17 million RMB. Next, I'm going to Japan. Are you staying in Hong Kong? Aaron certainly attaches more importance to the Japanese market than the Chinese market, especially now that the yen is appreciating. Aaron has to seize the opportunity. As for me, I'll go back to Taipei and then go to the mainland. Do you want to come then? The mainland? Aaron thought for a while. Okay. When I finish my business in Japan, I'll go to BJ to see you. This year, Sino-US relations are not very good, and a lot of things have happened. However, Aaron can talk to China Film Corporation about the introduction of imported films. Chapter 294 Interest in MCA. With the arrival of September, Pulp Fiction, winner of the Cannes Palme d'Or, was released in North America, immediately sparking a wave of discussion. Its opening box office of $12 million already exceeded its production budget. Although Pulp Fiction received mixed reviews from North American film critics, it remains one of the most discussed films. The Los Angeles Times praised it as maddeningly, callously, irreverently, and breathtakingly dramatic. A review in the Denver Post, however, deemed it hollow, failing to evoke anything beyond itself. At night, at the Intercontinental Tokyo Bay Hotel, Aaron stood by the window, admiring the view of Tokyo Bay. Aoni-san, Norika Fujiwara, draped in sexy silk pajamas, hugged him from behind. Feeling her full body, Aaron pulled her into his arms and kissed her. I heard you're filming a TV series lately, right? Yes, a TBS series, Fujiwara said excitedly. Aaron nodded, then carried the girl into the bedroom. The next day, Aaron met with the head of Japan's Sakura Bank at a hotel and requested a 15 billion yen loan from Sakura Bank on behalf of Akebano International Japan Pictures. This loan, used as capital for Akebano Japan's business expansion, was worth over $160 million at the current exchange rate. Sakura Bank is a key asset of the Mitsui Group, one of Japan's largest financial conglomerates. Other companies within the Mitsui Group include Mitsui & Company, New Prince Paper, Toshiba, Sony, Sanyo, and Toyota. Together with Mitsubishi, Sumitomo, and Yasuda, they are known as Japan's four largest financial conglomerates. After the meeting with Sakura Bank, Aaron ran into Mike Medward, the former chairman of Sony's Samsung Film Group. Aaron, are you also in Japan for the Tokyo International Film Festival? Mike Medward was the chairman of the jury for this year's 7th Tokyo International Film Festival, which would be held in Japan later this month. Tokyo International Film Festival. Aaron shook his head and laughed. I'm not interested. I haven't even paid much attention to the Venice International Film Festival that is currently being held. Mike Medward shrugged. Okay, then you don't have any ideas about MCA Universal, do you? Recently, the news that Panasonic Group is going to sell MCA has broken out, with Herbert Allen of Allen Investment Company and Michael Ovitz of CAA serving as transaction advisors. Aaron tapped the table. MCA. It seems the Seagram Group has their sights on it. Mike Medved took a sip of his wine and gave Aaron a meaningful look. With Suzuki making major moves in Hollywood right now, MCA's assets should be quite attractive to you. Aaron's expression remained unchanged. MCA Group owned Universal Pictures, MCA Television, MCA Home Video, MCA Music Group, Putman Publishing Group, a 40% stake in the Cineplex Odeon cinema chain, the Universal Amphitheater, a 50% stake in USA, the American Cable Network, Universal Studios Hollywood, and a 50% stake in Universal Studios Orlando. These assets were absolutely prime for Suzuki. The film and television library, the music group, the publishing group, the home entertainment company, and the European cinema chain were all things Suzuki desperately needed. In fact, MCA Group was even more attractive to Aaron than TBS Broadcasting Group. Aaron smiled. It seems I really need to pay more attention to MCA, Mike Medved nodded. I'm planning to start Phoenix Pictures next. Perhaps we'll continue to work together in the future, Aaron said. Of course. After 3 days in Tokyo, Aaron headed directly to Panasonic headquarters in Osaka. Panasonic President Yoichi Morishita met Aaron Anderson in his office, accompanied by Michael Ovitz and Herbert Allen. During this formal meeting, Aaron directly expressed his interest in MCA. Yoichi Morishita was fine, but Michael Ovitz was shocked. He asked uncertainly, is Sugan really going to acquire MCA Group? Aaron narrowed his eyes. With Sugan's current development momentum, it's normal for it to have ideas about MCA. Isn't it normal? The current Sugan belongs entirely to me. Wall Street investment banks and various funds support me. Sugan will not lack funds. On the other side, Herbert Allen also took a breath. Aaron, I thought your idea was mainly about cable TV. Aaron smiled and looked at Yoichi Morishita. Panasonic currently wants to sell MCA as soon as possible. If our negotiations go smoothly, Sugan can pay you the cash for the acquisition as soon as possible. Yoichi Morishita nodded. I know Mr. Anderson's name. Sugan is now the new leader in Hollywood. Being able to hand over MCA to you is definitely one of the best choices. Aaron glanced at Michael Ovitz. I know the Seagram Group is also interested in MCA. I wonder if Edgar Bronfman Jr. can convince the rest of the family. Michael Ovitz smiled slightly. Edgar Bronfman Jr. is now in charge of Seagram, and I believe he can convince his father and uncle. Morishita Yoichi stood up at this time. Let's go enjoy dinner together, everyone, because Panasonic is still evaluating the assets of MCA, and it is not so fast when it comes to such a huge acquisition. Aaron's visit to Osaka this time also shows Suzuki's attitude towards MCA, and then it depends on Suzuki and Seagram's offer for MCA. In the evening, Michael Ovitz and Herbert Allen were talking about Aaron Anderson in the bar. I didn't expect Aaron to take action so quickly. He's going to swallow up MCA, Herbert Allen spread his hands. Dawn is the most profitable film company in Hollywood. Dawn Films' profits are terrifyingly high. Although it was established not long ago, no one dares to underestimate Dawn now. If Aaron Anderson wants to acquire MCA Universal, he will definitely get strong support from Wall Street, Michael Ovitz sighed. I have to go back to my country. In the evening, in the bedroom of the Intercontinental Hotel in Osaka, Aaron was lying on the bed, enjoying the service of Norika Fujiwara, while talking on a long-distance call with Wang Xiuxin. I may have to go back to the United States directly. I won't come to BJ next time. I'll come to see you later when I have time. Aaron had to return to the United States as soon as possible to form an acquisition team to negotiate with Panasonic, deal with asset appraisals, bank loans and other matters. Yeah, sure. I can come to America to see you when I have time, Wang Xiuxin said. She went to Vancouver every year for vacation anyway, and her trips to North America were becoming more and more frequent. Okay, I can send a private jet to pick you up then. Aaron's breathing quickened as he hung up the phone and stroked Fujiwara Norika's hair. Chapter 295 The Waste That Lost Trust. By mid-September, Aaron had returned to Los Angeles. In the conference room of Sugin's headquarters in Burbank, Aaron and a group of senior executives met and expressed their intention to acquire the MCA Group. Aaron looked at the CFO Jessica Parker. I plan to entrust Blackstone Group to acquire Panasonic's MCA Universal on behalf of Sugin. Next, you will be stationed in New York and work with Blackstone Group to evaluate the value of MCA, as well as contact Wall Street investment banks and funds. Sugin needs a lot of financial support. Jessica Parker nodded. That's not a big problem. Salomon Brothers, Chase Manhattan, Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs and other banks have always been optimistic about Sugin. We can ask them for funding for our acquisition of MCA this time. Aaron knocked on the table. Well, Sugin also has competitors for this acquisition of MCA. Edgar Bronfman Jr. of Seagram Group is determined to enter the entertainment industry. Michael Ovitz of CAA recommended Time Warner to him before, and now he wants to promote Seagram's MCA. Whether Sugin can become a big force in Hollywood depends on this time, everyone. A few years ago, when Panasonic acquired MCA, it spent $6.5 billion. After operating for several years, Panasonic suffered huge losses. While MCA's current value is certainly no less than its previous price, it's difficult to say by how much. Valuation still requires time and careful evaluation by all parties involved. Meanwhile, Forrest Gump surpassed $250 million at the North American box office, and The Mask surpassed $100 million. The hit Pulp Fiction also surpassed $23 million at the North American box office in just 10 days. Just days after Aaron returned to Los Angeles, the newspapers reported Jeffrey Katzenberg's departure from Disney. Given Katzenberg's leadership of Disney Animation's success, his departure immediately became a Hollywood sensation. That evening, at the Sunset Marcus Hotel in West Hollywood, Aaron met with Lew Wasserman, chairman and CEO of MCA Group, and Sidney Sheinberg, president and COO. Lew Wasserman, a veteran Hollywood entertainment mogul and former agent, possessed immense political connections. Aaron, Panasonic's price for MCA won't be less than $6.5 billion. If you really want to acquire it, you must raise this massive amount of money quickly. Lew Wasserman deeply disliked Michael Ovitz, who was determined to sell MCA to Seagram. For someone outside Hollywood, Aaron Anderson, as an industry insider, would be more likable to Lew Wasserman. Aaron smiled. Don't worry too much about the funding. I'm confident. However, Edgar Bronfman Jr. of Seagram seems very aggressive about entering the entertainment industry. We all know that Seagram is a major shareholder in DuPont. Edgar Bronfman Jr. has long announced that he will sell DuPont stock to acquire a Hollywood studio. Aaron's idea was simple. He could acquire MCA, but not in an endless bidding war. Lew Wasserman and Sidney Sheinberg glanced at each other. While we both believe in you, Panasonic still makes the decision, and price is the key. Aaron frowned. MCA Universal had suffered such heavy losses in recent years, and Lew Wasserman and Sidney Sheinberg were heavily responsible. Now that Sugin was looking to acquire MCA, Aaron wanted tangible support, not just verbal support. He looked at the two Jewish guys and said, "You two are well aware of MCA Universal's current predicament. You don't really believe that a good-for-nothing rich kid is capable of managing and operating a historic Hollywood studio, do you? Isn't the lesson of MGM a profound enough lesson? Wasn't it a serious enough lesson that MGM was reduced to its current state by Las Vegas casino tycoon Kirk Kerkorian?" Aaron watched Lew Wasserman and Sidney Sheinberg depart, taking a sip from his glass before sighing. Two losers. It was clear to Aaron that Lew Wasserman and Sidney Sheinberg had lost Panasonic's trust. Morishita Yoichi wasn't Akio Teni, and even if Panasonic didn't sell MCA, they would likely be replaced soon. A short while later, Aaron also left the hotel and arrived at Jennifer Connelly's villa in Benedict Canyon, Beverly Hills. Meanwhile, Michael Ovitz arrived at a beachfront villa in Malibu to meet with Edgar Bronfman Jr. Aaron Anderson. Edgar Bronfman Jr., sitting on the sofa, was surprised to hear that Aaron Anderson's Aurora Group was acquiring MCA. Isn't Dawn Group a new company that has only been established for a few years? Can it acquire a company of the size of MCA Universal? Michael Ovitz nodded. Dawn's valuation is not low. According to Dawn Films' annual profit, it must be extremely high. Moreover, Dawn's financial situation is very good, and Wall Street is very confident in Dawn. If Aaron wants to acquire MCA, there will be many people who support him. Edgar Bronfman Jr. frowned. Now I have to convince my father to agree to sell DuPont stock to raise funds. Otherwise, Seagram has no money, and my uncle is also firmly opposed, as he said. Edgar Bronfman Jr. pinched his forehead. Compared to his father, it is of course more difficult to deal with his uncle. Michael Ovitz's mind was in turmoil. The Seagram Group originally belonged to the Bronfman family. Since Edgar Bronfman Jr. is now in charge, he believes it will not be too difficult for him to convince the family members. What Edgar Bronfman Jr. needs now is time. Panasonic's estimate of MCA's value wasn't that quick. Sugin Group made a lot of big moves last year, they said. They acquired the copyright libraries of Samuel Goldwyn and Orion Films, built a new headquarters in New York, and Aaron also allocated funds to build the Sugin Center in Houston. Among other things, I believe Sugin doesn't have much cash flow right now. Aaron Anderson's focus remains on securing support from banks and investment funds, Michael Ovitz said, glancing at Edgar Bronfman Jr. Seagram's advantage is nothing more than cash flow. Negotiations with banks and investment funds are also time-consuming. How can it be as quick as Seagram's direct sale of stock for cash? Over the years, the dividends from the DuPont stock owned by the Seagram Group have been their biggest profit. DuPont stock is a hot commodity, readily available for sale. Edgar Bronfman Jr. nodded. Keep an eye on Sugin and Aaron Anderson's actions. Chapter 296 The Bronfman Family. Aaron Anderson's Sugin Group's official acquisition of Panasonic's MCA immediately sent shockwaves through Hollywood. The ultimate acquisition of the venerable Universal Pictures became shrouded in uncertainty. Meanwhile, news of Jeffrey Katzenberg's departure from Disney seemed irrelevant at this point. "Aaron, are you planning to acquire Universal?" In the bedroom bed, Jennifer Connelly lay on Aaron's chest, a look of excitement on her face. "Yeah, I have that idea," Aaron sighed, feeling the woman's 34D breasts in his arms. After all, MCA's current valuation was $60 to $7 billion. Sugin's acquisition would be no easy feat. "That's really cool, but there must be a lot of competition, right?" Universal and Paramount Pictures were two of Hollywood's oldest studios, both founded in 1912, predating MGM, Columbia, and Warner Brothers. Aaron narrowed his eyes. Of course there are competitors. Seagram's, the liquor company run by Edgar Bronfman Jr., is hell-bent on entering the Hollywood market. Plus, they have Michael Ovitz, a Hollywood tycoon, leading the way. Panasonic's acquisition of MCA was his original plan, and now Panasonic is looking to sell MCA to him again. Jennifer Connelly then kissed Aaron on the mouth. "Anyway, Dawn Pictures is on the hottest of the block. This year's most talked-about releases are Forrest Gump and Pulp Fiction. Disney's animated feature, The Lion King, isn't bad, but it's not a live-action film after all." Aaron smiled, rolled over, and landed directly on top of Jennifer Connelly. "Take your time. Asset valuations take time." In the afternoon at Dawn headquarters in Burbank, Aaron met with Peter Peterson, co-founder of the Blackstone Group and former Secretary of Commerce. Aaron handed the other party a glass of wine. It seems that you, Blackstone, have a good relationship with Akio Morita, right? Peter Peterson nodded. Blackstone's first M&A deal was to acquire CBS Records for Sony. It can be said that Akio Morita is the first major client of Blackstone Group. Aaron smiled. Not bad. This time we are also dealing with a Japanese, but you still need to deal with Panasonic's consultants Michael Ovitz and Herbert Allen. Edgar Bronfman Jr. should have promised that Michael Ovitz would manage the company after the acquisition of MCA. Peter Peterson frowned. The Seagram Group has stated that it has no shortage of cash, which is a difficult problem. Aaron, if Sugan wants to complete the acquisition, you may have to give up a lot of shares. Aaron nodded. That's what I should do. At that time, I can directly mortgage the new company. With Sugan's current development momentum, I think Wall Street investors will support me. Well, we'll quickly assess the value of MCA's assets and make a suitable offer. The MCA acquisition was arguably Blackstone's largest deal to date, and Peter Peterson needed to be extremely vigilant. After Peter Peterson left, Christiana Yeri arrived at Aaron's office to report on her current work. Scream, Con Air and SE7N have all been ramped up and are currently in post-production. Red Dragon, The Silence of the Lambs prequel developed by ourselves, Sense and Sensibility produced by Phantom, and A Man Walking produced by Polygram are all in filming. Aaron pressed his temple. What is Michael Bay, the director of Bad Boys, doing recently? Oh, waiting for Bad Boys to be released in the spring of next year. After all, it's his debut film. Christiana Yeri said, then sat on Aaron's lap and said affectionately, why, are you optimistic about him? Aaron nodded, reached out and took out a script idea The Rock from the drawer. Give this project to Michael Bay. I've seen the sample of Bad Boys, and the effect is very good. Michael Bay is very talented in the field of action movies. The Rock is an out-and-out action-adventure film, which is absolutely suitable for Michael Bay. Okay, Christiana Yeri had no objection. Next, I may have to go to New York for a while to prepare for this year's Victoria's Secret fashion show. Last year's Victoria's Secret fashion show caused quite a bit of discussion and boosted Victoria's Secret sales. This year's scale will be even bigger. Aaron smiled and stroked the girl's thighs a few times. That's good. Have you signed a few models in Brazil? Yes. Christiana Yeri leaned close to Aaron's ear and blew a breath. Beautiful, sexy, tall, passionate samba girls. Aaron shook his head and patted the girl on the body. Okay, what Brazilian woman can be more beautiful than you? In the evening, two motorcycles came at high speed and stopped in front of a club on Santa Monica Boulevard in West Hollywood. Jack Wells and Aaron Anderson took off their helmets. How about it? Is it cool? Exciting? Aaron put away his helmet and wiped his hair. It's just right to go for a drink. After entering the bar, Jack Wells talked about the NBA. The 94-95 season will not be affected and will start normally. Currently, the preseason has started, and the construction of the Houston Dawn Center is also no problem. Aaron nodded. The Rockets just won their first championship, and morale is high now. Next season is also worth looking forward to. Jack Wells smiled. It's more than just high morale, it's full of confidence. As he spoke, he picked up the wine glass and clinked it with Aaron, then drank it all and whispered, in the Texas gubernatorial election, George Bush Jr. has the highest approval rating. If nothing unexpected happens, George Bush Jr. will most likely take the governor's seat in the November gubernatorial election. Aaron shrugged. Not bad. In California, Pete Wilson's approval rating is also ahead of other candidates. The chances of re-election are very high. His handling of the Los Angeles earthquake has won a lot of praise from the public. Jack Wells lit a cigarette. We've invested a lot on them. Once they succeed, it's time for us to reap the rewards. Aaron finished his drink and said, check for me about the Bronfman family, the Jewish family behind the Seagram Group. Dawn is going to acquire MCA. Seagram is my biggest competitor, no problem. Chapter 297 DreamWorks SKG. At the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills, a grand press conference was underway. Jeffrey Katzenberg, David Geffen, and Steven Spielberg jointly announced the formation of DreamWorks SKG Entertainment. All three were prominent figures in Hollywood, and their formation immediately captured the attention of Hollywood. That evening, Aaron and Nicole Kidman arrived at the Peninsula Hotel for a cocktail reception for DreamWorks SKG. DreamWorks SKG. Hollywood is getting another powerful film company, exclaimed the glamorous Nicole Kidman. Aaron released his arm from the woman's waist. accepted a glass of champagne from the waiter, and smiled. Hollywood is getting more and more interesting. DreamWorks SKG's ambitions were significant, and the three had clear divisions of labor. Jeffrey Katzenberg oversaw DreamWorks animation efforts and corporate management, Steven Spielberg oversaw DreamWorks live-action film and television production, and David Geffen was responsible for DreamWorks music division and financing needs. By the way, has filming for Batman Forever wrapped, directed by Joel Schumacher. Val Kilmer plays Batman, and stars Tommy Lee Jones, Jim Carrey, and Nicole Kidman. This $100 million sequel to Batman Forever is truly a star-studded film. It's finished, and we're in post-production. There's still a lot of special effects involved, Nicole Kidman said with a casual smile. I didn't expect you to still care about me. I thought you'd forgotten about me. Aaron shook his head and went to the balcony with Nicole Kidman. Well, there's been a lot going on lately, as you know. Well, Nicole Kidman hugged the man and started kissing him passionately. After they kissed for a while, Aaron leaned close to the girl's ear and said, "Wait, we'll go straight to your place. Well, is it true that Ron is going to acquire MCA Universal?" Nicole Kidman's face flushed as she hugged the man's neck with an affectionate look on her face. Aaron nodded. "Of course. We're just waiting to get an offer from Panasonic." Afterward, Aaron returned to the reception and chatted with the three founders of DreamWorks SKG. Congratulations, David. The founding of DreamWorks is a game-changer for Hollywood. Aaron and David Geffen clinked their glasses. Their collaboration this year, Interview with a Vampire, grossed $100 million in North America and $220 million worldwide. With a production cost of $60 million, plus $25 million in marketing and promotion, Interview with a Vampire was sure to be profitable. David Geffen smiled and said, "DreamWorks is just setting up a platform now. For the film industry, we still have to rely on Steven and Jeffrey. Besides, Don is undoubtedly the most dazzling film company in Hollywood right now." Aaron shrugged and said, "I wonder when DreamWorks' first work will be developed." "Not so soon." David Geffen took a sip of wine. DreamWorks still needs to bring in new investors, and some of the company's preparatory work is not yet complete. The current DreamWorks SKG only has a name, and no specific business yet. It will take time for Jeffrey Katzenberg to develop an action feature film. Steven Spielberg still has projects to complete for other film companies, and it will take even more time to help DreamWorks develop works. Aaron turned his head and glanced at Steven Spielberg not far away, then fixed his gaze on Jeffrey Katzenberg on the other side. The person who cares most about DreamWorks SKG must be Jeffrey Katzenberg. Being kicked out of Disney has become a thorn in his heart. At the press conference that day, Jeffrey Katzenberg vowed to compete fiercely with a Disney company led by Michael Eisner in the field of animated feature films. He said, "In the 19 years working with Michael Eisner, I have gained the most valuable experience of my life. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be sitting here today. Although I don't think either of us will die from this injury, the damage is already there, obviously." Leaving Disney in disgrace was a huge blow to Jeffrey Katzenberg, and in turn, Jeffrey Katzenberg's hatred for Michael Eisner was infinitely expanded. Aaron nodded. "If there is a chance in the future, Sue Guang will be able to cooperate with DreamWorks SKG." David Geffen smiled. Of course DreamWorks is very happy to cooperate with Sue Guang." Aaron sighed. "Now is a good time. Hollywood is in an unprecedented opportunity. Hollywood at this time is surging, and two major dividends have allowed many Hollywood newcomers and new companies to leap to the center of the stage. One is that 3D and CG technology began to be widely used in the field of film and television production, just like the emergence of special effects blockbusters such as Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Jurassic Park, and True Lies. The second is Hollywood's globalization strategy since the 1990s, the government's policy of encouraging investment in the entertainment and cultural industries, and the influx of large amounts of funds from Wall Street and Europe into Hollywood, providing guarantees for the works. After the cocktail party, Aaron and Nicole Kidman drove away from the hotel. "How about it? Does DreamWorks SKG make you feel pressured?" The car was driving on Sunset Boulevard, and Nicole Kidman leaned on Aaron's arms and teased. Aaron smiled, stretched out his hand to stroke the girl's thigh, and said disdainfully, "Pressure? The three people in DreamWorks have at least 6 minds." Then, Aaron looked out the window and saw a poster hanging at the door of a theater, The Shawshank Redemption. This movie is finally released. Aaron has actually been paying attention to this feature film written and directed by Frank Darabont, adapted from Stephen King's novel Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption, starring Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman. Well, Nicole Kidman kissed Aaron on the face a few times. Why? Do you know this movie? I've heard that it's written and directed by rookie director Frank Darabont, with Castle Rock investing in it. Tom Cruise was initially considered the best actor, but he wasn't optimistic about the rookie director. Originally, Rob Reiner of Castle Rock Entertainment wanted to direct it himself and spent $3 million to buy Frank Darabont's script, but was rejected. A rookie director who could refuse the temptation of $3 million shows that Frank Darabont really liked the novel Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298, Shu Guang's products are of the highest quality. In Los Angeles, a landmark theater on Melrose Avenue is showing The Shawshank Redemption. Suddenly, the film's director, Frank Darabont, and producer, Nikki Marvin, stepped onto the street to solicit audiences. Frank, our film is excellent, and has received numerous critical acclaim. It's simply lacking in commercial appeal due to the subject matter and other factors, Nikki Marvin offered her solace. This was Darabont's first feature film, and the pressure of filming was immense. Now that it was released, attendance was extremely low, adding to the pressure. Frank Darabont simply smiled at his friend's words of comfort. I understand. Our film, The Shawshank Redemption, is a prison film. There's no romance or exciting action, with its monotonous prison scenes, slow-paced plot, and lack of compelling stars. I expected this outcome. However, what Frank Darabont hadn't anticipated was the low attendance. Let's take our time. Once word of mouth spreads, Columbia Pictures will expand the screenings, Nikki Marvin sighed. A film like The Shawshank Redemption doesn't have much hype, and its distributor, Columbia Pictures, hasn't invested much. While its opening was modest, and while it received praise from critics, the attendance figures were truly disappointing. In Santa Monica, the night deepened, a pleasant ocean breeze blew. Aaron, lying in bed in his Pacific Palisades beachfront villa, groaned and exhaled. After a while, the breathless Nicole Kidman climbed onto Aaron's chest. Honey, you are still so awesome. By the way, you seem to be very interested in tonight's The Shawshank Redemption? Aaron stroked the girl's smooth and white body with a smile on his face. It's okay. Although this movie is a slow-burn prison-themed work, it's still very well filmed. It's a story about a banker who was wrongly imprisoned and then spent 19 years digging a tunnel to escape from Shawshank Prison. The Shawshank Redemption is a movie about human nature. The cold, ruthless, cruel and violent Shawshank Prison is painted in black and gray tones, and the male protagonist adds a touch of brilliant color to the prison. He vividly interprets human nature by describing the belief and pursuit of redemption, freedom and hope. Well, Nicole Kidman rubbed against Aaron's arms. It seems that you are very optimistic about this movie. It should be a strong rival of Forrest Gump in the Oscars, right? Oh, that's hard to say. Forrest Gump is a mainstream American film, just like Schindler's List before it. I'm not worried at all that Forrest Gump won't win at the Oscars. There was no way around it. It was just that confidence. The hype surrounding Forrest Gump was too strong, its influence too immense. Aaron, it seems like The Shawshank Redemption didn't make much of a splash after its release. Nicole Kidman looked up, perplexed, at the man. Aaron Anderson's vision had long been proven, unerring. Since The Shawshank Redemption had earned his approval, it shouldn't have been this way. It's probably a matter of time, Aaron said, smoothing his hand through the woman's blonde hair. You should go see this movie when you get a chance. It needs to be savored. There were indeed many reasons for the box office failure of The Shawshank Redemption: a poor title, a lack of action, an unappealing subject matter, and a weak cast. But this movie really received a lot of praise from professionals. The Chicago Tribune. The Shawshank Redemption is not just a movie, but a spiritual baptism for people. The movie does contain some entertainment elements, but most of the time the movie is quietly discussing the philosophy of life. The New York Times. This is a fascinating and simple and kind movie, with enough darkness on the edges to provide contrast and relief for its beautiful view of human nature. The next day, with the news that Jeffrey Katzenberg, Steven Spielberg and David Geffen, three Hollywood heavyweights, founded DreamWorks SKG Entertainment, the whole Hollywood was hot. Moreover, the ambitious three people are not just focusing on movies and animations. In addition to DreamWorks Movies and DreamWorks Animations, they have also established a series of businesses such as DreamWorks Television, DreamWorks Records, and DreamWorks Interactive Entertainment. DreamWorks wants to form its own system. That morning, Nicole Kidman sat in Aaron's arms, holding a newspaper. Look, with the founding of DreamWorks SKG, everyone's saying Suzuki's biggest competitor is coming. Suzuki was undoubtedly the most successful Hollywood film company of the 1990s. Under Aaron Anderson's leadership, it dominated the industry, with box office revenue soaring. Even Hollywood's 6 traditional distributors couldn't keep up with Suzuki. The saying in Hollywood now was, "A Suzuki film is guaranteed to be a masterpiece." Aaron shrugged. What's there to be afraid of? Suzuki's achievements are now enough for DreamWorks to catch up. Jeffrey Katzenberg was determined to replicate Disney's success and build his own animation empire. But how could it be so easy? Bringing in investors and recruiting talent, DreamWorks has a lot to do. Aaron shook his head. Animated feature films are different from live-action films. They require a large staff. And unlike live-action film crews, they can't just assemble a group of people at any time. Besides, David Geffen and Steven Spielberg are both shrewd Jews, and their first priority is definitely to protect their own interests. If DreamWorks has any problems, it will soon collapse. As he said this, Aaron reached into the girl's pajamas, feeling the softness, and said with a smile, "Don't forget, I'm the golden boy of Hollywood. It's not easy for those 3 musketeers to defeat me." Besides, Pixar, now under the control of Sugan, will release its first 3D computer animation, Toy Story, next year. Jeffrey Katzenberg's first DreamWorks animated feature film will rarely be released for 3 or 4 years. Well, Nicole Kidman hugged the man and kissed him directly. "Why, after last night and this morning, you are still not satisfied?" Aaron rubbed the girl's face. "It's been a long time since I last saw you, a sexy beauty. I have time these days and I can spend more time with you." "Yeah," Nicole Kidman nodded, then stroked Aaron's chest and smiled. "I guess if you go out, there will definitely be a lot of reporters asking you what you think of DreamWorks SKG." Chapter 299 Senior Jewish Family. With Jeffrey Katzenberg's departure, Disney suffered a significant loss. Furthermore, negotiations between Disney and Katzenberg continued, as the latter's bonus had not yet been agreed upon. With the lifting of the U.S. government's ban on financial and telecommunications mergers, major Hollywood studios could merge with broadcast television stations, further solidifying Michael Eisner's plan to acquire a broadcast network. Disney ultimately chose General Electric's NBC network, and Michael Eisner made a special trip to visit Jack Welch at his Long Island resort in New York. In a beachfront villa in Long Beach, Los Angeles, Jack Welch sat on the sofa, flipping through his documents, his lips twitching. This Bronfman family is truly remarkable. Sitting across from him was Anthony Pellicano, Hollywood's top private investigator, who had connections to the Welch family. "Jack, the Bronfman family has a huge influence in Canada. It is the top Jewish family in Canada, and they have close ties with American Jewish families such as the Rockefeller family and the Rothschild family." Seagram owns 24.3% of DuPont's shares and is the largest shareholder. In recent years, it has opened up many political networks in the United States through DuPont. Anthony Pellicano spread his hands. "There are some things I can't find. If Shugwan wants to acquire MCA, it can only go head-to-head. Perhaps you should go to Washington and try to get support there." Anthony Pellicano is very capable, but there are some upper-level inside stories that he dare not touch. Previously, in the Michael Jackson pedophile case, he took out a box of private tapes that were enough to prove that the boy's family tried to blackmail and extort Michael Jackson, and distributed them to the media in large quantities, creating a public opinion offensive to help Michael Jackson prove his innocence. Jack Welch curled his lips. "Wouldn't it be better for Seagrams to just keep selling liquor?" Seagrams owns brands like Seagram's Gin, Chivas Regal, and Martel. It's mainly Edgar Bronfman Jr. He's always been interested in the entertainment industry and worked for a film company in the UK early on. He later worked as a screenwriter and wrote songs. "He's really into the entertainment industry," Anthony Pellicano explained with a smile. As the third generation of a wealthy family, Edgar Bronfman Jr., though in his 40s and worthless, the Bronfman family certainly had plenty of money. Jack Welch shook his head. "When it comes to running a film company, no one can match Aaron. Don's brilliance is obvious to all. It's just that Seagram's DuPont stock is worth over $8 billion, and DuPont is willing to repurchase it, so Seagram doesn't need to work with banks at all." Don, on the other hand, is in trouble. In recent years, Dawn has been expanding relentlessly, acquiring the landmark cinema chain, building a new headquarters, acquiring film copyright libraries and the AMC cable network, and so on. Now, if Dawn wants to acquire MCA, it will mainly rely on the support of banks and investment funds. As for Edgar Bronfman Jr., such a good-for-nothing is not worthy of being compared to Aaron. Aaron has accomplished most of what 3 generations of the Bronfman family have accumulated in just a few years. Besides, Aaron Anderson is only 24 years old and has unlimited potential. Elsewhere, at the Bel Air Hotel in Beverly Hills, Aaron and Charles Johnson, chairman of Franklin Templeton Investments, sat across from each other. Charles Johnson picked up the wine glass in front of him and took a sip. "Aaron, have you decided? Are you really going to acquire MCA?" Aaron nodded. "Yes, the most important asset of the MCA group is Universal Entertainment, movies, television, theme parks and resorts, as well as music companies and publishing groups, can just make up for the shortcomings of Dawn. What's more, Universal's current performance is not good, and Panasonic also wants to get rid of this burden. In recent years, only last year's Jurassic Park was amazing. Now, Steven Spielberg, who has maintained a cooperative relationship with Universal, has participated in the establishment of DreamWorks SKG, and Universal has lost a major guarantee. Lou Wasserman is old and frail, and has long been unable to be of any use. As for Sidney Sheinberg, his biggest role is to stabilize Steven Spielberg, since Steven Spielberg has partnered with David Geffen and Jeffrey Katzenberg to form a new film company. Sidney Sheinberg is naturally useless. Charles Johnson glanced at Aaron. "Everyone can see Sugin's progress clearly. Franklin Templeton can provide you with $1 billion in cash, $500 million will be your loan, and we hope the remaining $500 million will be converted into Sugin preferred shares." "Okay," Aaron agreed. Sugin's acquisition of MCA was a major step forward. Seagram had no shortage of cash flow. Aaron also needed to accumulate as much capital as possible and stockpile ammunition to compete with Seagram. "Aaron, when do you estimate we'll start making offers?" Charles Johnson had always been very interested in Sugin. This was an opportunity not only for Sugin but also for Franklin Templeton. Aaron tapped the table. "Probably next spring, that's when Pixar's first 3D animated feature, Toy Story, will be released. This groundbreaking production will surely increase Sugin's valuation even further. Furthermore, Panasonic's board of directors will need time to discuss the valuation of MCA's assets." Afterward, Aaron drove to the Chateau Marmont in West Hollywood to attend the celebration party for The Mask. The Mask has performed exceptionally well, grossing over $250 million worldwide. Jim Carrey is truly a star. Following the success of Ace Ventura and The Mask, Carrey has a new line production, Dumb and Dumber, slated for release later this year. He also filmed Batman Forever this year and will soon be filming the Ace Ventura sequel, Ace Ventura 2, A New Superstar is Born, beamed Tom Rothman, a senior executive at Ace Ventura. The Mask performed very well in Europe, and I believe the Japanese and Australian markets will also satisfy us. Aaron took a sip of champagne. "This is the new generation of Comedy King. Wait until Dumb and Dumber is released at the end of the year." Jim Carrey is the star who released 3 blockbuster movies in the same year, and became a Hollywood superstar on par with Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mel Gibson and Tom Cruise. The investment in comedy films is very low, and the main thing is the actors' salaries. No wonder Jim Carrey became the first actor in Hollywood to receive a $20 million advance payment. Chapter 300 Polygram doesn't have the courage. At night, a BMW Z1 drove along Pacific Highway 1 in Malibu, finally stopping at Petit Dume Beach. A man and a woman in the car were kissing passionately. They were Aaron Anderson and Cameron Diaz, who had just finished attending the celebration party for The Mask. "So, how was my performance in The Mask?" "Wasn't bad." The sexy Cameron Diaz, disheveled, straddled Aaron, her arms around his neck, her breasts exposed. Aaron held the woman in his arms, caressing her body. "I told you it was stunning. Now that this movie's out, your fame is skyrocketing. I have a luxurious estate in nearby Cape Dume. We can go there later." Cameron Diaz nodded, then twisted her body a few times, took off her shirt, and kissed him. "I recently got a new script and will start filming my second film soon." It was clear that Cameron Diaz had caught the attention of Hollywood filmmakers with her stunning appearance in The Mask. "Well, that's great. Now you've officially made your Hollywood debut," Aaron said, reaching out to caress the woman's soft flesh. At the same time, Dawn TV's first series, Season 1, also premiered on AMC. However, compared to Season 1 on AMC, Aaron was more concerned about Friends Season 1, also produced by Dawn TV and set to air on NBC at the end of the month. Burbank, Dawn headquarters. Aaron sat in his office, listening to Esther Beckett's work report. Rumble in the Bronx grossed $32 million at the North American box office, a great success. Jack Chang has gained a certain degree of fame in Hollywood, and the development of Rush Hour is guaranteed. $32 million is indeed enough. Aaron leaned back in his chair. It seems we bought two of Jack Chang's older films, Project Condor and Supercop, next year. We'll find a chance to arrange a release. Suddenly, Aaron thought of something. I heard that Universal's Waterworld went through a serious budget overrun. Kevin Costner, who took over the directorship, invested $22 million of his own money to complete the film, right? Esther Beckett nodded. That's true. The production cost of Waterworld reached a staggering $175 million. Carlock's Cutthroat Island also went through a budget overrun, requiring constant additional investment, bringing the production cost to $95 million. All of a sudden, two works about water have encountered difficulties and are now almost the laughingstock of Hollywood. Aaron knocked on the table. How much is the box office of James Cameron's True Lies, released by 20th Century Fox? It's $140 million in North America, second only to Disney's animated feature film The Lion King and Our Forrest Gump. It has also exceeded $200 million in the overseas market, but the production cost of True Lies was $115 million, far exceeding the $60 million of Forrest Gump and the $45 million of The Lion King. And now, the North American box office of The Lion King has exceeded $280 million, and it has exceeded $400 million overseas. Forrest Gump has $260 million in North America and has exceeded $300 million overseas. Has 20th Century Fox revealed anything about James Cameron's new film? Aaron has been paying attention to Titanic. Esther Beckett shook her head. I heard James Cameron went diving in the Atlantic Ocean. Aaron smiled. I see. After leaving Dawn, Aaron went to Los Angeles International Airport to pick up Catherine Zeta-Jones, who had flown in from London. He then took her to Palm Springs in Los Angeles for a vacation. Palm Springs, located in the Coachella Valley of the Colorado Desert, is a famous resort town, an oasis in the desert known for its mineral springs, ski resorts, and golf courses. Inside the hot springs, Catherine Zeta-Jones lay in Aaron's arms. Honey, what made you think of celebrating my birthday? Aaron kissed the woman on the mouth. Isn't it normal to celebrate your woman's birthday? Rubbing her body, Aaron leaned into Catherine Zeta-Jones's ear and asked, don't you want to spend some time with me, just the two of us? Catherine Zeta-Jones immediately covered Aaron's mouth and kissed him. Aaron hugged the woman tightly, enthusiastically responding to her advances. After the kiss, Catherine Zeta-Jones leaned in the man's arms with a seductive look in her eyes. I saw in the newspaper that Kevin Costner's movie, Waterworld, cost $175 million and was seriously overspent. Is that true? Last year, the two collaborated on the hit movie The Mask of Zorro, which made Catherine Zeta-Jones famous almost overnight and also solidified Kevin Costner's superstar status. Aaron nodded. It's true, everyone is pessimistic about this movie now. After all, the production cost of $175 million is too high. Catherine Zeta-Jones was shocked, and some couldn't believe it was true. He glanced at Aaron. Now, the newspapers are saying you're going to acquire MCA Universal. It seems Polygram has the same idea. Polygram, Aaron smiled. Does Polygram's parent company, Philips, have the guts to do that? Polygram was originally jointly owned by Philips of the Netherlands and Siemens of Germany. Later, Siemens withdrew from Polygram and sold its shares to Philips. Polygram's main business is still music production and record distribution. In the film industry, it is only a novice, dabbling in independent films, and its frequent collaborators are nothing more than the Coen brothers and Tim Robbins. Well, the film Polygram is currently filming, A Man Walking, a drama directed by Tim Robbins and starring Susan Sarandon and Sean Penn, is a collaboration with Crescent Films, a subsidiary of Dawn. It's still very difficult for Polygram to acquire MCA. Aaron felt that if Polygram acquired MCA's music business, it might be possible. Catherine Zeta-Jones put her arm around Aaron's neck affectionately. If you acquire MCA Group, Wouldn't it mean you'd own Universal Studios? That's one of the largest film and entertainment groups in the world. Aaron Anderson was still so young, yet he had already achieved such great things. How could this not surprise and shock people? Aaron brushed his hair and said casually, "It's just an entertainment group." His own goals were more than just that. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.